Literally, I moved here 2017, and I was doing Instacart as my first job when I first moved here. Literally, like the first couple months I was here, I was at the Austin Westlake HEB. This guy just walks up to me and goes, he's with his wife. He goes, "Hey, would you want to fuck my wife sometime?" And I was just like, "Holy shit, what?" And she was hot. Mm-hmm. So I took him up on it.
Oh, you fucked his wife?
Yeah.
Was he? I guess he was in there.
I mean, one of the times he was, but it was usually she would meet up and then like send him videos. It was weird. Austin's weird, bro.
Was he watching? Was he jerking it?
Yeah, the time that he was there, yeah.
And you, how was that for you? Were you? I mean,
it didn't bother me. I'm telling you, his wife was
You
hot.
knew what you were getting into.
Yeah,
so
I knew it. It wasn't like I was like,
you weren't like,
please,
bro.
I knew that that was the cost I had to pay to fuck his hot wife. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and it was.
And they were older, and they were
they were like probably like mid-40s.
Mid-40s, yeah. And so were you? Was it like comedy where you like doing your thing and you were like, "Hey brother, what you think, man? Was that pretty good?"
So here's the thing.
How was that?
You know what's funny? Have you ever heard of the site Field?
Yeah.
It's like the alternative dating site.
Yeah.
I've done that one before. I'm not on it right now, but again, like I've had a situation where it was kind of like a cuckold situation, where it was like the guy wanted me to fuck his girl or whatever. And again, I know I'm being fetishized as a black man in this scenario. It is what it is. But I didn't get my dick wet. So it is, it's a mutually beneficial circumstance. And the first guy, he didn't want derogatory shit, but like the guy that I met on the app that wanted me to fuck his wife, like he was like, if you want to be like talking about how much deeper you're going in her and stuff, like I never did it in front of him there.
That's so funny.
But like we would do videos and he would want me to be basically disrespectful to him.
It's funny how he asked like, "Hey, and if you just wanna,
disrespect the fuck out of me.
If you just want to talk about how much bigger your dick that is, it's like, nigga, I didn't come here to think about you.
I'm gonna need you to make sure you make reference to how much better you are at fucking my wife than I am."
What's up, y'all? Welcome. This is Tyler Is Groce. With me, Tyler Groce, a podcast where a comedian talks to his successful friends about life and growth and self-improvement so that I can beat them in whatever their endeavor is. And we got Winston Dean here.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, man. So this is the beginning of the episode, and we just recorded it.
Yes.
And then,
hey,
how'd you feel about it?
That's the magic of editing, is you can just throw this bitch at the front.
I'm gonna throw this bitch at the front.
I think that this was a lot of fun. I think we had a very insightful conversation.
Yeah.
We went off the rails, but those rails aren't built for staying on in the first fucking place.
That's very true. That's very true. We tried to stick to the topic of the podcast, which was the getting better and stuff.
He wanted me to tell him how to beat me, but I incepted him by keeping him distracted with other topics. So he doesn't know how to fucking beat me now.
I don't know exactly. I just know.
Why would I do that? Do I look like a fucking simp to you? I'm going to come on your podcast and let you know how to beat me?
No,
Fuck out of here.
And I respect that. So we instead we had a conversation that just felt natural and it felt good, and it felt like there were these distinct moments of like, man, that was great, and man, that was great, and man, that was great, and you're gonna love it. Yes. He has a show. Where's the show?
It's off of 17th Street. It's a place called the Heart Yard downtown, and
it's every Saturday.
It's once a month. The next show is August 13th.
They're gonna be smoking brisket, y'all. You can get a $5 ticket, you can get a $10 ticket with a free joint, or you can get a $15 ticket with a free joint and a beer. Go do this.
Memory on this guy.
Go do this shit. I'm headlining a spot at the Fallout Theater on August 27th. 27th is Saturday at 10 p.m. You'll see stuff about it if you follow me on Instagram at TJ Groce, so check that shit out. This was a real fun episode. I'm glad
I think you guys are going to enjoy it, but I will say, when you were out here saying like, tell me how to beat you, I feel like that would be like if like, I don't know, fucking 50 Cent ass jaw rule. Like, how do I beat you? It's like, you're already beating my ass. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're killing it.
Here we go. Listen, Winston's got, he's being nice. Listen, it's a good episode. Check it out. Bye.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I shop local. I bought this camera at a local Austin camera shop. It'd be nice to plug it right now, wouldn't it? For my 50 people that listen, but no, I don't know. But it was local around here, and I bought it from them. Used. It was like $650 or something like that. It's pretty good.
No, yeah.
But then every single time I record something, and it's like when I got this memory card, it had like 12 hours. And I was like, hell yeah.
Oh, like space that you can put on it? Okay, yeah.
And then I filled a lot of it up. And I was like, and I go on my computer. I'm like, all right, let me erase the stuff I don't need anymore. And I did it, and now I only have 2 hours. I'm like, where did that 10 hours go? Like it.
How much did you think you erased?
It should. I don't. I feel like at least half. I should at least have like 6 hours.
Okay.
But I don't.
No. So you just got to figure out the editing processes, or?
No, I know how to do all that. It's just
shit goes missing.
Just memory goes missing. Not even files. Space is gone now.
That's a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie. That's a Jordan Peele movie. Where did the space go?
Where'd the space go?
Yeah, not like space. You get my point.
But did you like it?
I liked Nope.
We were talking about Nope before we got on here, the Jordan Peele movie, and I was saying it was okay, and you were saying.
So out of the 3 movies, I'd put it at 2. You know, I think Us is the third, like out of the 3.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was incredible by any means, but I was entertained. I enjoyed it. I got the Alamo Drafthouse themed food that went along with it.
What was that?
It was like a pizza with it was called like the Sheriff's Pizza or something, and it had like pulled pork and like honey glaze, and like it was good. I mean,
you really went for it.
I was like, fuck it. I mean, look, I'm gonna experience this Nope movie.
I'm gonna buy the marketable things.
I mean, do you ever go to Draft House?
Yeah, I love Draft House.
Is that your go-to?
Yeah, if I'm gonna see a movie, probably. I mean,
do you have any go-to snacks at the Draft House?
There's like a Regal Cinema nearby that's like close and cheap, and the theater's pretty good. Yeah. But
I got that Draft Pass.
You got a Draft Pass?
That shit's
fire. What is that?
So what's so funny? So Derek Dimple?
This is a top one. You talking to it like
okay,
that.
my bad. So Derek Dimple?
Yeah.
So like I thought it was he's not. I think it's a great deal, but apparently to him it's not. Basically, you spend $20 a month, and you get to go to unlimited movies every month. Well,
they used to remember that they used to have that app, Movie Pass, that would do that for like every single theater.
For every single theater,
and then they were like, "Oh, we're losing money, but we'll make money in the end."
And then they did it. Yeah, they folded.
So how is this better? How is this?
The way that this works for Alamo Drafthouse is that it's like I feel like anything that's like that, you got to do it under your own umbrella. It can't be multiple different venues, because then you're doing contracts with several different places, and like the red that you're trying to recover from is just so much behind the 8 ball, to the point where, and it got to the point. I used to have the Movie Pass. It got to the point where they were like having to do things like you can't see a movie that's coming out until it's out for like 7 days, like type stuff, to try to like push people to go to other movies outside of the blockbuster so they can make the money on the blockbusters.
Right.
Because they were losing out on that money.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But like if you just have it like if Draft House has their own thing, then you can let them go see it the night of, because it works out where, number one, Draft House is kind of expensive when it comes to the food and whatnot. Like, so
and what? It's just I'm always so excited to sit down and eat.
It's part of the experience
while you're watching a movie.
You have a waiter there bringing it to you. It's just like all you got to do is write it down.
And you spend it's restaurant prices, which is fine. And you sit down, you take that first bite, and you're always like,
this is fine.
This isn't good enough.
Oh, you really don't think so? What do you get there?
It's fine.
What do you get there?
I think the last time I went,
I will say the pork pizza wasn't that great.
Me and my girl, we were all high, and we went and saw Top Gun.
Okay, Maverick.
Maverick.
What'd you think?
And I wasn't born in the 80s.
Okay, so no nostalgic for you.
No nostalgia. I was just like, this is kind of corny. It's very well done.
It was a very top grossing Tom Cruise movie of all time.
That was?
Yeah.
Inflation.
Yeah. I'm not impressed.
Inflation. That's shit.
I'll give it to him. He was very passionate about like not putting it out early. He was like, no, this needs to be in the theaters. Like we need to wait or whatever. It was supposed to come out like in 2019.
It's been done for a while?
Yeah, it was done in 2019.
Oh wow.
Like it's supposed to be like the summer of Miles Teller or whatever. Like all these movies were supposed to be coming out at the same time, and then it got delayed. But for me, it was better than it had to be. They didn't need to make it that good.
I enjoyed it, and it felt. You know what? One thing they did really well is that it felt technical. Because they were in planes, and it was like, we're gonna go and we're gonna hit these G's.
I'll put it like this: the director, I feel like, for how big of a blockbuster it was, and the fact that it was well done, I think if there's not like a 5 directors that you have at the top of your head for this year of movies, consider him for best director, just because it was such a big project.
Please.
I mean, just Winston Dean thinks so. You know what I mean? If that doesn't mean anything.
Winston Dean says consider Top Gun
but
director.
blockbuster movies never get that kind of consideration. You know what I mean? When it comes to Oscars. So
no, they don't. Hold on, I'm gonna turn on the air because I think it's still.
No, you're good, man.
Talking.
You're good. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm bald. So this is like a running theme for your show. No, it's all good. But no, so I mean, Nope was. I mean, I like the summer blockbuster movie. I liked Nope. I didn't like go in there thinking it was gonna be better than Get Out, and it wasn't. But I feel like that's such a high bar to try to clear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Get Out was one of those movies that people are going to be talking about even 20 years from now.
I thought it was a really good movie. I didn't realize it was a masterpiece when I watched it.
Yeah,
it really
that's true.
is. It really is.
That's
It's a solid movie that it does, there's no, because I mean, honestly, after seeing Us and Nope, I'm like, oh wow, Get Out was perfect.
Yeah. It puts it in perspective.
I'm like, Us and Nope got some flaws.
Yeah. I can't say a damn thing about Get Out. And then you heard all these things about Get Out later that you didn't, at least I didn't notice, when it was like how the grandpa, that just goes to show that like Nope wasn't that great that we're talking about his older movie. But the fact that like in like Get Out, when like the old man is like just running around sprinting, like it's like the black guy,
right?
And you realize the grandpa got put in the black guy and he lost to Jesse Owens in the Olympics, so he's probably like, oh damn, this black body, I'm about to have a better time than I had as a white guy.
A lot of little stuff. I mean,
the
old
Fruit
girl
Loops.
eating the Fruit Loops.
Yes,
and it's just it's. I think it worked better because it was the core of it was like a normal thing. Hey, going to meet the parents.
Yeah,
and then race.
And you and I both dated white girls, so we've been there. You know, like
I've never met white parents. I've met some. I've met one parent.
Have you met your current girl's parents?
No,
not yet. Has she met yours?
No.
Okay.
She might meet mine. I'm probably not going to meet hers.
Okay.
No, just
quite the forecast.
Well, because my parents are in Houston and her parents are in Oregon.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So her
dad's
dad's
a little bit
in
harder.
Oregon.
No, that's a little bit harder.
Yeah. I met some Mexican parents, and that was,
Okay, so the one time that I had like a kind of like racist situation was with, she was half white, half Mexican. Her white mom was fine with it. Her Mexican dad wasn't too thrilled.
Damn.
Right? Yeah, it wasn't a plot twist. I guess it's not. I mean, hear about that.
That's a Jordan Peele style plot twist right there.
Right?
Wait, the Mexican didn't like me?
He wasn't feeling it. No, he was not.
Did he say some shit in Spanish?
I just was getting relayed the messages. He wasn't saying it to me.
So your girl was like, "Oh, my dad said."
She got. I mean, I was at the time.
I'm too good for you.
I'll put it like this: this was the girl that I was dating from like going into the summer of senior year. She was a junior. I was a senior in high school, or whatever. So we were still like the age of like you gotta listen to your parents. And like her dad was like, "Oh, you'll be grounded" or whatever, like that type of shit. So like it was just like, man, this is crazy.
And it was specifically like because he black.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Damn tragic, right?
Damn.
I thought we were gonna come out here and have a good time. I'm sitting here talking about my trauma.
Did you ever say like, well, why don't you tell him go back to your country? How about that?
Yeah, he would have loved me. No,
I mean, it was too late.
You know what's funny? He's
it's
one
like,
of those.
Yo, let's go racist v racist.
The racist Olympics.
Yeah. Let's see
so here's the thing.
I
always say like I can get it kind of like whenever I meet like someone who's like from Venezuela or Cuba that's like conservative. Because like when you look at their history, is like for them it's like socialism like ruined their country, whatever. It's like corrupt socialism, albeit, but like they have a historic reference of why they don't like socialism.
Right.
With Mexicans, usually when they're like, it's because they think they're better than their peers. Kind of, it's like otherism is what I notice. There's no history.
You're saying Mexicans think they're better than blacks and Cubans?
They think that they're better than like, for example, it's like a Mexican who got here legally, who has their documents and everything, looks down on like just like disparagingly on someone that got here legally.
You know, so I dated a Mexican girl, and she told me, she was like, I feel bad for the Mexicans, but like, we got here legally.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like,
do it.
And I was like, what do you mean? You can't say that.
Yeah, you don't expect
These
to hear
are your
from
people.
Yeah.
And then she's like, actually, I'm from Argentina. And I was like, that shit's the same thing. It's like, no matter where you turn, someone's saying some racist shit.
You ever see Crash?
Yeah.
He's like talking to her because he's like fucking some Hispanic girl and he's black or whatever. And he calls his mom and like his mom's calling him saying, look for your brother.
Right.
He's like, I'm busy fucking a white girl or whatever. And like he hangs up on her and it's like disrespectful as shit. And he's like, the girl's like, I can't believe you talk to your mom like that. And also, I'm not white. I'm a Peruvian or whatever, and I'm not Mexican or whatever. And he goes like, well, who tells you guys like, where's the committee where you guys all come together and decide to park your cars on the lawn or whatever? And I was like, holy shit, this movie's racist as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they got an Oscar for that movie for just basically racist trope after racist trope after racist trope.
I remember I was a kid when I watched that movie, and I was blown away.
I thought it was so impactful.
I thought it was so good.
Deep, yeah.
And apparently it's one of these movies like you go back and watch it and you're like, oh, this is the stupidest
shit. It's pandering, yeah.
It's the fucking lamest shit. But I remember it was Ludacris. He was with his black dude towards the beginning of the movie, and he was like, man, it's fucked up, man. We just a couple of brothers walking down the street, and everyone thinks that every single white lady is clenching their purse, thinking that we're gonna rob them. It's fucked up. And the other guy goes,
So we
but we are gonna rob him, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we are.
And it's like, and I'm like,
Dear God, this movie's not good.
I was 14. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know.
It was
who's the good guys, and it turns out all of us and none of us.
Yeah, right. That was the message, and then it was all like a cycle at the end. Like another crash happened at the end, another racist argument. I will say the whole scene with the daughter like saying, "I'll protect you, Dad."
Yeah,
that was a fire scene.
That was so good.
Like, oh my God,
so
like the
good.
daughter had the wherewithal to think my dad's a hothead. Let me put some blank caps.
And his
we
face,
just spoiled the whole scene. But
I mean, listen, came out in like 2006.
At this point, do better. Yeah.
But it was like, man, it's like because he
point blank.
Because it's very complicated. But anyway,
just know it's good. That scene is good.
It's a good scene. Basically, you think a little girl gets shot, but she doesn't. But she pulls the trigger, and then the dad's is holding the little girl, and then he hears the bullet.
Like a miracle.
He's like, no. It's all silent. He goes, no. And he's crying. It's so real. And then he checks her back, and it's like, she's okay.
She protected me from bullets. You know, because they don't know about the blank situation. So they went into the house. He's like,
the gun had blanks.
It was a miracle
to that. Go
watch
Crash, okay? Stop waiting for us to explain the whole thing.
I feel like we sound like such potheads. It's like talking about a movie from the early 2000s. It's like, bro, it's so good. I watched it last week. You know, it is. It has its moments, but it definitely didn't deserve an Oscar.
Yeah. So
for sure, beating me in stand up. No. Yeah. Zero segue.
I told you the premise. You've listened. You're a first fan of the podcast,
yes,
I believe.
Yes, I've listened to a few episodes.
Everyone else has asked to be on, and then they're like, I don't care. I don't know what it is. I just want to do it.
I just saw the posts.
I want to see myself on your Instagram.
Yeah, I want a clip. Give me how many clips do I get out of this? You know how many clips you breaking me off?
Three.
All right, guaranteed.
Usually 3.
All right, sweet. All right,
it's rare to go less than 3.
So if I don't see 3, I'm like, it wasn't a good take.
Nah,
probably not.
It's not about you. It's about the algorithm.
Okay.
I got to post for the algorithm, so the algorithm likes me.
Like, I don't get Instagram's algorithm at all.
I don't get any of it.
Yeah,
I'm posting, hoping that it will. On YouTube, I'll post a video and it gets 10 views, and I go change the title, do it again, it gets 100,000. Yeah. Not 100,000, maybe 102,000. But it gets a bunch.
Maybe not 100,000.
But it gets a bunch of my point.
No, I feel you. It's no rhyme or reason.
Anyway, you're a fan of the podcast.
I am.
We have our podcast together, the Light Skin Perspective.
It's great.
It's a good podcast. It's with me, you, and Gabe Davis.
Yes, very funny guy.
And yeah, that's what we do. And then this podcast is all about, what's the premise?
What do I do?
I feel like you give me a contact high or something, because I never remember shit when I'm around you. I'm always like, man, it's just like that time.
I've never heard that level of a compliment.
I mean, shit.
So, okay, for me, let me talk about I feel like number one, I think it's important to know yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds like cheesy.
About this.
But you know what I mean? Like, I think it's important. So, for example,
who is Winston Dean?
Winston Dean. Well, first off, you gotta understand, I was born January 30th, 1989. It was It was early morning. It was,
Reagan was president.
Reagan was president at the time.
He was president?
No. I think it was actually Bush.
Bush Senior was president.
The first Bush, yes.
And end of the Cold War just ended.
Apparently, I'm ENTJ. If anyone's wanting to know, Myers-Briggs.
I think that's been debunked. Go on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
I think it's bullshit.
My whole entire spiel I was about to give.
What year was I born?
So I used to be a teacher. I think you know that. I used to be a teacher. So
here's what I know about you. I know you used to be a teacher, and I used to work with kids as well. I know you like weed. I know you. I don't know how you describe yourself. A geek, a nerd, a dork. I don't know which one, but you like pop culture. Mm-hmm. We've bonded over anime. We both love anime.
Yes.
Both light-skinned black dudes who love anime. It's a very small
demographic.
I don't know.
It's not a small, but it's definitely a Venn diagram. It's not a circle.
No. There's a certain type of person that is black and likes anime.
Takes a lot of confidence.
Have you heard that Ron Funches? I know I told you that Ron Funches joke.
No.
Where he's like, there was 2 kinds of niggas in school. There was basketball niggas and there was Dragon Ball niggas. And I'm like, God damn it.
It's so true.
God damn it. It's so true.
Now, here's the thing. Like, I was actually pretty athletic growing up. I was really good at sports, but that being said,
the rare twofer.
I wasn't good at basketball though. Like that's the most athletic of the sports. And like I was good at football, I was good at soccer, I was good at wrestling. I was decent at basketball.
Okay.
So, but
you're tall too.
Yeah, but I wasn't always tall. My twin brother for a second was like 4 or 5 inches taller than me. It was
Whoa, that's
I
weird.
caught up. It was
are you all the same-ish now?
Yeah, we're about the same, but he has an afro now, so he's like just fucking whatever. bastard.
Damn,
But yeah,
I'm really
so,
jealous of that.
Yeah, I mean,
You always mention the afro.
I mean, look, I mean, when you go bald before 28, and then your twin brothers over here with luscious locks, looking like you. If you wanted to have dreadlocks, he could start building it up if he wanted to. But he likes to be able to like go to cornrows and back and shit. So he just does different.
But you're a great looking bald man.
I appreciate that.
Because you guys,
I will take that. I will.
If I was bald, because I can't grow up. This bullshit I got right now. That's the best I got. I don't even know why. I need a shave.
So Bomani Jones says that if you can't connect your beard, you can't talk a certain way to me. Like you can't be but so disrespectful.
Who's this?
Bomani Jones. He's like a sports broadcaster, but he's also funny. He's like, if a guy whose beard doesn't connect just like disrespects you at a different level, it just hits a different way. You're just like, this motherfucker.
So if I was bald, I would look fucking weird because I got basically nothing on my face.
Like you basically have Villanueva at that point.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to joke about that? Is Will Smith going to walk in the room?
Vitiligo's the skin one. Thinking of alopecia.
Oh, she has alopecia. Okay.
Michael Jackson has vitiligo.
Oh, you're right.
Jada has alopecia.
You're right.
Both of them are crazy. Am I right, y'all? Hey.
So I know, real quick. I know you don't follow basketball that much.
No, I don't at all.
But there's a player in the league named Charlie Villanueva, or he used to be, and he had a very severe case of alopecia to the point where he had no like hair on his body.
Okay.
And one time Kevin Garnett got into a fight with him on the court, and Villanueva said that he looks like a cancer patient. And then after the game, Kevin Garnett's like, "No, I said he's a cancer to the league." And it's like, nigga, like we know damn well you called him a cancer patient. There's no way. Like, is this the moment? So like, you know when somebody tells you their excuse, and the moment you hear their excuse, you know they're fucking lying?
I said you acting like a bitch.
I didn't call you a bitch. I said you acting like a bitch.
You need to listen to what I say.
So, okay, we're all over the place. But basically, when you, as a teacher, I would tell my students, like, look, don't be out here procrastinating on shit if you're not capable of procrastinating on shit. Like, I feel like you should learn very early if you are that type of person. So figure out what type of person you are, what works for you. If you need to be regimented, be regimented. If you need to be held accountable with incentives, then do that. Do what works for you, but figure it out as soon as possible.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
To achieve your goals.
To achieve your goals. For me, at the very end of the day, the two things that I think you'll agree with when it comes to getting success in stand-up, it's work ethic and networking. I think are the two biggest things.
Yeah.
So
what are you better at?
Networking for sure, because I'm outgoing, I'm gregarious.
Yeah.
If I'm at a mic, I'm usually talking to people and whatnot. But like out of the 7 sins, so to speak, like whatchamacallit, sloth is definitely the one that I battle with the most.
Yeah.
Like, and you know how it is. Like when you go to open mics, like sometimes it's 90% of the time rooms full of other comics that aren't really listening to your shit anyway. Right. So it's like you only get but so much out of a gauge out of it. So it's like, it's just sometimes the drive to want to go out to open mics and stuff. It's about the discipline of still doing it. And that being said, like that's definitely my biggest fault. You can probably attest to it. Like I'm not at mics as much as I should be. Like I used to be a little bit better about it before the pandemic.
Yeah,
but I've been kind of like slacking lately.
Yeah, and it's hard to say. I mean, man, it's just I feel like my mind about mics have changed so much because when I was just starting out, mics are very important. You need to go all the time because you don't know what you're doing. You need to go up there. You need to give it a try.
Just to find your voice.
You need to. Fuck finding your voice. You need to figure out how to fucking talk.
Deliver a joke.
You need to how to figure out how to like because you know there's this thing that early comics do, especially now in this new scene where it's like everyone sort of has the same cadence. Everyone's like. So I'm drinking a White Claw the other day. Everyone's like,
anyone here single? Like stuff like that. Yeah.
So I saw the new Top Gun the other day. Like everyone talks like that, and it's like, and that helps you sound like a comic. Because or you go up there and you're just like, so I was there.
And that's not very comic sounding.
I got a haircut the other day.
Those people need to find their voice.
They need
if they're talking like that,
they just need to speak up. Finding your capital V voice, just speak the fuck up. But nowadays, it's like I have a lot of those base skills down, so I'm like, I just need to go to try brand new shit out and see if it has legs, and then I'll probably find a crowd somewhere that I can actually try it out in.
So one thing
for me, I would rather go to no mics in a week and write than go to a bunch of mics and just fuck around.
I feel that. I feel like. Definitely, since post-pandemic, for me, it's been more of trying a lot of more new stuff at open mics, more so than trying new tags to try and true material. At this point, I have a base of material that, like, for example, if I'm doing like 15-minute set, like I have way more than 15 minutes. So if I'm trying new material that's not working, I can always fall back to, because people that are in the audience, they don't know what's new. They don't know what's old.
Right.
So having that foundation makes it easier to experiment on some level.
That's true, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like if you only have like, say like all together of all my material, I have about 17 minutes worth of stuff. You don't want to experiment, because if you leave like from that tried and true material, you're like, oh shit, I'm almost like out of my shit. And I know the light's not coming anytime soon.
Yeah.
Like, so it's just a different stage of your career when you have more stuff to back it up. But
yeah, man, I can't imagine going back.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like if it was like someone's getting...
I remember getting nervous about like having 10-minute sets and stuff like.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure,
like,
yeah.
So it's like, oh fuck, and like I'm sitting here plotting out every single joke that I want to make sure I go over, so I can make sure I had the full 10. You know.
Yeah.
So and now it's like it's more often that I get off stage and I'm like, fuck, I forgot to talk about that tag.
Yeah.
Or because like I'm not very. Some comics are regimented to the point that they don't ever have that situation where they get off stage and like, I forgot to talk about this. They're very much know what they're going to talk about and they do it. I like have like things that I want to talk about, and then there's like some tags that like I can do on it where I forget it. So for example,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, fuck, that joke really worked. If I hit that tag, I would have gotten a really big laugh, and I forgot to.
I think we have different styles. I think. I don't know what style means. It's one of those words like what how would you describe their style? And everyone's like, I don't know.
I have an answer for that when people ask me
that. Winston, how would you describe your style?
So I do lifts, so I try to plug myself here and there. So like if they ask me that, I'm like, well, if I had to describe it in 3 words, I'd say it's historical, observational, and racial, which kind of historical and racial go hand in hand, but yeah, you're welcome. Take that with you. If you guys want to ever check out my material, that's how I succinctly describe it. Succinctly.
Well, see, so I would say mine's racial.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would say mine's racial, sexual. That's all I talk about is black shit, sex, and I just try to make it as silly as possible. That's pretty much what I do. But I still want it.
If it's your bread and butter, it's your bread and butter.
But I want to have a point though.
Yeah, a message. For sure.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a similar thing that we have is we are two light-skinned, glasses-wearing black comics who want to make a point when they're on stage, and we talk about slavery more than we should. Yeah,
I get to the and it's just funny doing it in the scene of Austin where most of the crowds are very homogeneous. They're like it's a sea of white people with some. So sometimes like I'll just like for example, I'm pretty sure we have the same night for FPIA, which is funniest person in Austin. I'm pretty sure my night I'm just gonna go up there and give like the whole like Slim Shady like this is a public service announcement like. You're about to hear some race jokes. Like, it's okay to laugh. Like, because sometimes they'll lock up if you do like back-to-back race. You know what I mean? Like, there's we feel guilty. It's like it's.
Yeah, it depends on it depends for me.
How hard the joke goes.
Yeah, it depends on how harsh of a joke it is.
Yeah.
Like you know, I have.
How much are you holding the mirror up to them?
I mean, yeah, kind of. How much you're really calling these motherfuckers out?
Yeah.
So I guess what you're talking? You were talking about who you are. Mm-hmm. So you can reach these goals.
Yeah.
What are Winston's goals?
So if you ask me
why do you do comedy? I think there's 2 questions. Why do you do it?
Okay.
Deep inside of you, why do you do it? And then what are your goals with it?
Okay. Well, why I do it is like I've always enjoyed like talking to a room of people, even when I was teaching and whatnot. But like controlling a room when you can make them laugh, like there's no drug I know it sounds like stereotypical, but like it's just such a fun high to be able to make a whole room just like crack the fuck up.
Yeah.
I've always loved the art. I've always remember like even when I had like a Discman like where I put like a little like some of the earliest like albums that I was buying were like comedy albums and some of them are like people that are disparaged now like Dane Cook and shit, but like I was listening to
Dane Cook's one of Dan Cook's album is just kind of straight fire.
Yeah, I mean the one there's 2 of them. I feel like one of them was like where it's like one of the jokes is where he's talking about he keeps on giving the guy at work Snickers because he's super weird and like kind of whatever. He's like, and then he comes in like does like a thanks for the candy bar or whatever. Like that shit was so fucking funny to me.
This motherfucker, he was funny.
He was Yes, there's a reason he was the biggest comic for a certain time.
Yeah, he really was. And then I think he kind of I think he stopped.
He stole, and also like there was a whole thing about him stealing a lot of Louis C.K.'s jokes. Apparently,
I think that was one of those things.
Okay,
where it's
kind of like a trope.
No, I think it was just like one of those. Yeah, we both thought of
a similar premise.
Yeah, it's like we both thought of the same premise that was sort of basic, but
no, yeah,
or he did by accident.
Yeah,
I stole a Jew joke the other day on kind of on accident, but also on purpose. And I told him about it.
Okay, well, like if you had a better premise to add on to it.
I just did it. I just did the joke. It came up in the moment, and I was like, just let it rip, Tyler.
Not on stage, but in conversation?
No, on stage. On stage. And I was like, let it rip, Tyler. And then the next day, I was like, hey, Conrad.
Conrad Fagan?
Yeah. I was like, hey, Conrad, I stole your joke.
I don't want somebody else to have to tell you this, but
yeah. And he was like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, I know, man. I'm sorry.
Like, it was good.
And he was like, tell me the situation, tell me the context. And I was like, I told him, and he was like, all right, whatever.
So, okay, the guy who produces our podcast, his name's Brandon Lejeune. And me and him were like just talking, and I had referenced the fact that Perry Mason, they made a show more recently on HBO where it was like, Perry Mason, The Premise? It was a show in the 60s. It was like a lawyer show. It was the first show where like you saw people like confessing on the stand of their like, I'm guilty. Like it was like that show. Like it was like the Law and Order of its time. Okay. And it was the first one like it. And like HBO did like a revamp of it where instead of like being episodal cases, the whole entire season was one case. It was really good. And there was a scene where like the cop that he works with, the cop has been retconned to be a black police officer. And I was telling Brandon about it where like the black cop's doing a dialogue where he's like, did you know like if I'm arresting a white person, I have to wait for a white cop to show up because I can't handcuff him? And I'm sitting there thinking about how profound this is. I'm telling Brandon about it. And then like Brandon's like, bro, do you mind if I just talk about like how like, holy shit, like black cops back in the day were like mall cops or whatever? And so I didn't even realize I gave him a joke premise, but like I've seen him do it. Like it's been working where it's just like, the way he paints the picture is like me and him watch it together. And he's like, I'm all like, that's so profound. And he's like, all I can think about is like my white privilege doesn't get me nearly as far as it used to back kind of shit. And I'm like, that's one of my favorite things to stand up to do is like kind of like tag jokes for people or like add on or whatever. If you hear like a funny premise and you can think of something to add on to it, like that's one of the conversations I love having with people is like, hey man, try this on stage or something. Yeah. They're probably not going to do it 90% of the time, but sometimes you can give them a really cool joke premise,
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. But anyway, what are your comedy calls?
My comedy calls.
Why do you do it?
My bad. I keep on trailing. My bad, bro. I'm sorry. So I love doing it because.
Hey man, we high.
So why do I do it?
Baby. It's all good.
Okay, like why I do it is because it's just been like I feel like out of all the different forms of like entertainment, I feel like it is the hardest one to do personally. There's no other form of entertainment that it's an immediate review. If me and you went to see Nope, I could look over at you and kind of get an idea of how you're feeling about this movie, but we're not going to have the conversation until after the movie.
Right.
If you're on stage and someone's bombing, there's no secondhand emotion that you feel more than secondhand embarrassment.
I will say it's a very visceral art form for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody is invested and involved and feeling.
And no two shows are the same.
No. And everybody's feeling the room. Everyone is very present in the room.
The room's an organism almost. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, for sure.
No, yeah. And then like, if you were to ask me, for example, who was one of the most talented people in all of Hollywood, I'd say Jamie Foxx. Like, this guy started as a stand-up comedian.
I love Jamie Foxx. He's
got a Grammy.
He's a hero.
Got an Oscar.
He's done everything I could have ever wanted to do.
Like, if you asked me what I want to do with stand-up, I would never even think to be like, I want to be doing what Jamie Foxx. Like, that's too much. Like, I just want to be sole means of income. Like, yeah, that sounds good. Like, that's my goal. Is sole means of income.
Jamie Foxx has done he's done everything.
He's basically an EGOT. He just needs a Tony. He has an Emmy, he has a Grammy, he has an Oscar, he doesn't have a Tony.
He should.
If he did Broadway, he'd get one. You know what I mean?
He should just.
He doesn't have it because he hasn't applied.
I don't know why he hasn't wanted to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be his.
Maybe it doesn't mean. I don't know. I mean, he's old. Maybe it doesn't mean anything to him. Yeah. I mean, he's done everything. And when I say everything, I mean like he has been in blockbuster movies. He's been in just
black movies, like
black movies. He's been in just bullshit, shitty movies. He's been in.
Do you know about his Ed Sheeran connection?
No.
When Ed Sheeran first was like coming up, like he let him sleep on his couch for a few months.
This motherfucker. He always tells these stories. Jamie Foxx.
Jamie
Foxx. He's always like, man, so I was there, right? I was in the crib, right? And
this ginger.
And who knocked on the door? One young man named Kanye West came into my house.
And that's how she take my money came out. Yeah. Or whatever. What is it called? Gold Digger. I can't believe I can't think of the name of the damn song.
I spilled some juice and I got a towel and I started cleaning up the juice.
That was his best year of his career, I think.
Which one?
Like the Gold Digger / Ray.
Oh, probably, yeah.
All that
Ray. Bro, shit. Oscar movies. You messed up my riff. It was going to be funny. It was going to be a funny one. Too.
I'm so sorry.
It's too late now.
I'm sorry. I'm scattered.
It's too late. Jamie Foxx, man, he's great. And you want to be him. Or you don't.
I don't want to be that big. No. For me, sole means of income would be dope. Like, Now that being said, like if I was like known like that, I won't fight it. But if I could like walk the streets and still live the life that I live, but still make like say like $60,000 a year just doing stand up, that would be fucking fantastic.
I wonder if that, I feel like that would get old.
Yeah,
because 60,000 is enough money to be
just still
okay
be
right now if you're single.
Inflation.
But then like, but to be doing all of the work,
I feel like if
for
you get
$60,000, it's like, man, I thought I was gonna be balling by now, and this shit is not that.
Yeah, to make that like you are working every night probably and everything.
Yeah, and you're not working, and you're not at home.
Yeah, that's true. You're
and then,
touring.
hey, you want a girl? You want kids? Well, you gonna?
I'm not sure if I want kids, man. I feel like that's gonna wind up with who I am with.
Is it because you worked with kids and you know?
I mean, no. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I feel like me not having kids would be a disservice to this world because I would be a great dad. That sounds arrogant.
Damn.
That's the truth. I would be a fantastic dad. But that being said, I don't have the urge to like the yearning of like being a dad. So if it happens, I'm excited for it. But it's not like something like where if I was like 43, I'd be like, damn, I never had a kid. You know, like it's not a big deal to me personally. Yeah. But like it would be nice to have a more. Here's the thing. I feel like if you get to the point where you're making like over $50,000 a year doing stand up, it's like a snowball effect. You're probably pretty close to getting to the point where you're making well into like
if you're making 50, you're not that far away from 100.
Exactly.
If you're at 100, you're probably not that far away from 2.
Exactly. So like that being said, like it's all about getting to that first like 30, 50, like that's the hardest part to get to, where it's like you're paying more than just your car note every month. You're actually paying like all your bills with it or something.
Right.
Like, that's like the goal. So, but yeah, I mean, so my end game would be sole means of income. My career that I did before this was teaching. I took a step back from that, so I'm used to like making a lot of money in my career. So that's not a new thing. You know, if I'm making 50,000, I feel like I'm happy. But yeah, I mean, I've always just loved the actual, just the form of entertainment that is stand-up. Like it's just you're on stage, you're vulnerable, you're just telling people about your ideas, and sometimes I'm sure there's been jokes that you've been half-assing, kind of like this might be good, and then it kills, and you're like, holy shit, like that really resonated. Like there's something there. Like that's always exciting when a
sometimes.
joke. Yeah, not usually. It's not really the jokes I don't care.
Usually
about.
the jokes I care most about they're too specific.
Oh, okay.
They're too
perfect for you. Yeah.
not even like I think they're so funny or they're so well done, but the crowd just doesn't get it. It's more like the idea's too big, and I'm like, what about this, guys? And they're like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
Go back
like,
to point A. You know, like you're going
all sorts of shit. But yeah, so what is there a message that you want to convey through stand up? Because I think for me, like if I'm being very sincere about it, like I want to express this sort of light-skinned experience that I've had, regardless of how fucking soft that sounds. That's what I want to do.
No, I mean,
and it's like I feel like that's my goal. That's
your mantra.
That's why I'm writing these jokes, and I feel like at some point it's all gonna come together, and hopefully I could put out a thing that little light skinned boys like me growing up can look to and be like,
that was their Dane Cook album that they were listening to. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to be the light skinned Dane Cook.
Yeah,
and. That's what I want, and that's really why I'm doing this. And I have my ideas of the world as well. But that's really a specific thing, and kind of breaking down how that's different and what it is, and what
makes your experience like unique, and like what makes what about your experience like people wouldn't even think about that you want to put out there for them to maybe be able to resonate with your experience a little bit more.
I mean, I think about it more fundamental. I think about Richard Pryor. Like if you go back and watch a Richard Pryor,
I've only seen one of his specials.
Which one was it? Live in concert?
Yes.
Man, that's a good.
It's good.
It holds up so well.
Yeah, it's good.
You think you're gonna be watching like just gonna watch this documentary about fucking how stand up used to be.
Some of the old stuff, it's just like that too.
It is. But that is like
it could have came out a year ago.
It would have been,
except for like politically incorrect, but yes.
Yeah, it's so good. Anyway, he will be like, man, you ever notice how black dudes be like walking like this and white dudes be, oh, well, excuse me. And it's like everyone's dying laughing.
Yeah.
And it's like we watch that and it's kind of like he's doing it very well, but like it's a little corny.
It's a little hacky now. Yeah.
But it's hacky because he's the first one that did it.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
exactly.
I'm like, I feel like there is maybe a way to do that from my perspective of like light skin.
Be a pioneer.
Be a pioneer for like some light skin jokes where every single light skin comic after me is going to be like.
You're like you're like the Hedgeberg of like light skin comedy.
Why Hedgeberg?
Because he's such a unique form of comedy that anyone that does like the one-liner kind of things gets compared to him.
Sure, yeah.
Anyone that's like, for example, Casey Rocket, I'm sure gets compared to him just because he's so different. Like he just riffs on stage basically. So it's like he may not be the same, but since he's so atypical, it's like, oh, he reminds me of Hedgeberg because Hedgeberg is a typical comic. You know?
Right.
So.
Yeah, I like that's really if I have a goal.
Association.
It's that. That's the goal. So do you have some sort of message or goal or something that you're trying to get out in your work?
I think so. The biggest takeaway I had as a teacher was that if the world could like empathize more, it sounds cheesy, but if the world could empathize more, it would be such a better place. Like the only times I would ever like blow up at my students is if I was like showing like a warm-up video and like we have like a video like we're in Syria, like they're poison gassing their people and shit, and then you got like students in class just texting away, not paying attention. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like have perspective.
That was me, man.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like your government's not in here kicking in your doors and killing you and shit. Like
I have the freedom to pass notes during the Holocaust
movie. You know, it's so funny. That speaks to your age. But you said it's a pass notes. Because what year did you graduate from high school?
2011.
11. So I graduated 07. And 07 was the last year where more phone calls were sent than text messages. So I'm literally like the last age of like passing notes like in class and shit, and like you actually miss.
I never
somebody.
I passed notes in like 7th grade. That was about it.
Yeah.
I think I got a phone in like 10th grade.
Did your stock drop, or is that why like the girls weren't into you anymore after 7th grade? That you were no more notes passing, or they were never into you. You were passing notes to your
in
guy
7th
friends.
grade, girls were into me, and then after 8th, it went away.
Okay, can you pinpoint why that might have been? You lost the sauce.
I think I got shy. In 7th grade, I was very outgoing, and I think I got shyer.
Okay. Did you go to, I remember when your episode with Hunter, you guys were talking about how diverse your school was. And for me, I went to a super white high school, and I remember like looking back, I'm just like, holy shit, I should have been way more confident. Like it sounds arrogant, but like at the end of the day, like on some level, like I was walking in there like thinking like girls won't like me because I'm black, you know, like that kind of shit. And it's like, holy shit, you couldn't be more wrong. Like, what are you talking about? Like
they had jungle fever,
and I had no idea. So if I could have told 14-year-old me going into high school,
it should have been called Snicker Lickers High. That's what it should have been called.
That's too close to Snicker Niggers High. You know, like it's a little like Snicker Lickers if you say it too fast.
I remember my little cousin when he was like 17, he was like a football player. He was like 6 foot in high school and shit. And he was like football player. All the he's like half black, half white. All the little girls liked him. And then he would get Snapchats from just random bitches, random high school bitches that were like, "It's Jessica, your favorite Snicker Licker." And I was like, oh my God, for so many reasons.
This was not happening to me.
Number one, y'all are kids.
No, yeah.
You saying Snicker Licker because you like and you just saying that directly to him on Snapchat? And he's just kind of like, well,
confidence.
He's like, as long as she licks it. Like, it's not racist if she does it.
Hey, you know, sharing's caring, I guess. I don't know. Is it like, here's the thing. High school for me was, I was at a super white high school, and I just remember now looking back on it, I had friends, I did well, like I still cool with several people, but at the end of the day, it was kind of like my friend group was mainly minorities, for example, like so like we kind of congregated together and everything. It's kind of like we were all experiencing a similar experience of feeling like outsiders within our own thing or whatever. So I don't know why made me bring that up, but yeah. So
it's the pain,
the trials, the tribulations.
This podcast brings out pain, man.
Pain. But I will say one thing I don't take for granted when you talk about things that help me towards like my drive and my success. So I can't even like take credit for this. It's something that like I heard that just I repeat all the time. You know who Neil Brennan is, right? Mm-hmm. He talks about like how he's.
I believe we were both on his podcast, no?
Yes, we've both written into his podcast. It's no longer going, man. That's so tragic.
Not. I keep hoping that he's gonna come back.
Yeah,
I
don't think it is at this point. It's been over a year. Yeah,
he's not coming back.
It was like July-ish of last year that it stopped.
We both sent in a video to his podcast,
and he accepted both of our videos.
He did.
So,
he did. We asked good questions.
Neil.
You got on a couple times.
Yeah, I got on like, I'm not gonna lie, a few times.
Oh shit! Excuse me, that's my bad.
I will say I think I might have been the most, unless people are writing in a lot, most video recorded messenger on the history.
Yeah, but they roasted the shit out of me. Did they roast you?
No. So I remember one time I got called, I did a video where I talked about like this Bush Light thing where the guy said like, give me Bush Lights into this Venmo, and people sent it in, and like he like donated or whatever, and it was like a feel good story, and people looked up his tweets and they were trying to cancel him from a previous thing. That's one thing I talked about. Another thing was like the Black Bachelor. Like right after George Floyd happened, they gave us a Black Bachelor, and he's just like, it took a sec. It was a really funny riff. They just riffed on it. He was just like, no matter what, he could be the nicest suit. White America is going to see him in a loincloth like you. It's like instead of our night in the date night or whatever, it's like our night in the rape cave or whatever. It's just like, God damn. It was funny though.
Yeah.
But like one thing that he brings up is like he always talks about how he suffers from depression and all that stuff.
Right.
And all the things he's done to try to combat it. Like my genetic disposition, I've lucked out. Like I don't know about you, but like it also puts it in perspective being around comedians a lot. I don't suffer from depression.
Nope.
I don't get manic. I don't have bipolarism. Like I don't deal with any of that. And like Neil Brennan on one of his podcasts, he said, if you took somebody that made like $1 million and you gave them a pill, you're like, hey, this pill, you take it once a year, you're no longer going to be depressed. Like only time you're going to be sad is when sad shit happens to you. And it's going to be things that are actually in your life. It's not going to be your chemical makeup. They'd be like, how much? $700,000. Sounds good. They would give you the majority of their income.
Right.
Get it. And that's why it's invaluable. Like we just naturally have that. So I think it's important to not to take for granted the things that you have going for you also that may seem like trivial or things that you don't even think about. But like, I don't get days where I'm like, I don't feel like getting out of bed today. Like that never happens to me. Like I've never felt that way. Like I just got into a car accident where a guy ran through my car, totaled my car, didn't have a license, didn't have insurance. I'm dealing with that whole situation. And overall, like my whole disposition, I'm still pretty happy. Yeah. Like it sucks, but like it is what it is. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's something that I don't take for granted at all. And like I've even told my parents, like, thank you guys for like giving me good genetics on that level. You know.
I mean, yeah. But because because I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I don't got none of that shit.
Yeah.
I get stressed out sometimes. I'll meditate.
Exactly.
I get anxious I just get over that shit.
And it's usually something's making you.
Yeah, and I've learned that like, oh, if you are anxious, probably something's going on that you're not thinking about. Like you should probably just go inside and figure out what's going on instead of just being like, yeah,
just feeling it.
Yeah, it's just who I am. It's like, you know, I mean, not to hate if that's who you are, but motherfucker, come on.
That sounds stressful.
Yeah, and I don't have that. I mean, I'm even at the point where I'm like, you know, you hear all this shit about therapy, and I've been to therapy a handful, like temporarily
I've never
a
done
few
therapy,
times.
which sounds terrible, but I've never.
I mean, it's you know, it's for so long there was this stigma against therapy,
and now
it was like, are you fucking crazy
Yeah.
if you go to therapy? And then now it's like, yeah, I've never gone. It's like, wow. Someone.
So you think that you're just perfect?
It's like
no.
It's like you have a lot to deal with.
Yeah. You don't even know it.
I remember I was with a girl. I was dating a girl, and it was just shit between us was just not working. And I was like, girl, you need therapy. Like, and I knew her life. Like I knew her life. Like she had trauma that she had never.
She needs to address this.
And I'm like, you should go to therapy.
Yeah.
And then she started going to therapy, and then like a few months into it, she was like, you know, my therapist said this, and that. I think you need to go to therapy. And I was like, bitch, I introduced you to that therapist. You don't know shit about me. I know exactly what the fuck I need. I tell you, you don't tell me to go anywhere.
So did you go to the therapist the next week? Or?
No, we broke up.
Oh, okay.
That's
when we broke up.
She was like, we should go to couples therapy. And I was like, you know what? I don't got it in me, girl. You done wore me the fuck out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I don't mind, like, couples therapies. I feel like that'll be the first time I'll probably venture into therapy is a couple therapy situation. But I'm not doing it with someone that's not my wife. Like, that sounds like if we're doing all this and we're just dating, like...
Also, I was like, she was like, you should go to couples therapy. And I was like, listen, I mentioned couple therapies 6 months ago, and now I'm so over this that if it's like therapy or die, I choose
the latter.
I choose where I'll walk the plank into a sea of new pussy.
I'd rather.
Why do you think I would go to therapy? Why do you think I would go to therapy for you?
That could be the therapy. What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm like, girl, I don't need this shit.
No, yeah. I mean...
Are you? What's your girl's situation? Are you dating? What are you doing?
I mean, I'm perpetually dating.
Shit,
I will say...
You know, Winston Dean.
I mean, I'm not necessarily dating like successfully, but I will say, like, right now I am talking to someone that, like, I've known from back in the day that, like... Damn. like.
And what's her name? Hey, shout out.
her name is Nadia.
Hey, Nadia, shout out.
Like that just goes to show how early it is. I'm not even sure she's gonna watch this.
She Middle Eastern?
No, she's actually black.
I knew
black German.
Black German? Is she half black, half German, or she's a black German?
Like. That's a good question, actually.
I know.
It's a fantastic question.
It's a good question.
She's half black, half German.
Okay,
she actually speaks like some German too, which is pretty hot.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm not mad at it.
And you knew her back in the day.
Yeah, I've known her since like high school. So, but so our story is like
y'all disconnected.
We never dated, but we were always friends back in the day. She moved out to Denver for a while, and then like I moved out to Austin, and then like we were never in the same area, so we were just always like message each other, keep in touch. She's moved to Austin, and they're like, "Come in." We say the only kindergarten. No, like the only words we know.
Yeah, I don't know any. That's all I had.
That's all you had.
Said my one word. Don't make me.
Like, don't ask me to riff with you with German words.
Don't try to manipulate me to do more German words.
Yeah. So this is the first time I will say this is the first time in like the last like 5+ years where I would say like I'm like talking to someone kind of like semi-seriously. But like that being said, like we are exploring like a more open dynamic still, so it's not like exclusive. Like
sure. So, is she still in Denver?
No, she's in Austin now. So
okay.
We're in the same city. One thing that I love is that like she does her own thing, I do my own thing. We meet up when we can, like once or twice a week, if that. You know, like
we should have her on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, on the light. I mean, she is light. I mean, if you want to do it, I want to.
She have German. That's light skin enough for me.
I'm pretty sure she would be down, but I don't know. I have to talk to her about it, but I think that she would be down. I'm pretty sure.
What's your dating? How old are you?
I'm 33.
33. What's your dating history like?
My dating history. So my last like super serious relationship was a while ago. It was like 8 years ago, and it lasted about like 3 years. But before that, like I mean, after that, like I've basically I've dated here and there, and there's been girls that I've like talked to exclusively, but it wouldn't have been like if you asked her and asked me, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? We wouldn't be like, yeah. It was just dating.
That shit, man. You know, labels.
Today,
what are labels?
What are labels?
What are even labels, man?
I don't know. I've learned. I wouldn't say I'm at the point where I'm avoiding attachment issues, but it takes me a lot to want to like delve deep into a relationship with somebody. I don't know. Like I like my space. I've never lived with somebody that I was dating. Have you?
Yeah.
I've never done that.
It's the girl that wanted couples therapy.
Oh yeah.
I was like,
at least it was that one.
I gotta get the fuck out of
here. Yeah. So 33. I've never lived with somebody. So I will say it would help with the bills. That's for sure. So maybe I should consider it.
I feel like that's fear.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Fear. From being loved by somebody else as much as I love them.
Perhaps. I mean, you said it. I just said fear, and you filled in a whole bunch of blanks.
No, I mean, maybe. I don't know. Like, I think it also makes it easier that my dog is fucking dope. Like, whenever I'm at home, he just like cuddles me up and shit. You know, like he's just the best dog.
Man, cuddles, man. I fuck that dog, man. That dog does everything for me.
I feel like when I tell people I feel
why
like
I need a woman. When I got a dog to cuddle and fuck.
When I say that I've been single so long and my dog helps with it does sound like I'm fucking my dog.
I mean, you said it again.
I'm not fucking my dog. I want to make it clear. We're close, but we're not that close.
See, because I feel like my girl, like she was with somebody before me, like most girls were. Most girls.
You know what? I'm gonna wait till I meet Tyler.
I don't know if I've ever been with a girl who I was her first dude that she dated. I think maybe
dated.
One.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I thought you were about to go somewhere else with that.
One. I took a virginity once.
Okay, one time.
Virginity.
It's like I have a whole belt loop. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Me and the girl. Belt. I'm like Stephanie, Jessica, Susie.
I only know of two. I mean, it was a girl that I lost to. We lost together, and then a different girl. But that's it. Like, I mean, it's.
But no, my girl, she was with somebody, and she was like, "Ooh, I'm independent." She was with them for a while. And she's like, "Ooh, I'm independent." And then she met me. And she was like, well, I could never live with somebody again, or I don't want to.
Yeah.
And then basically, like, this has just become a podcast studio. I'm not here anymore.
Yeah.
I'm always at her house.
Yeah. Okay.
And
where does she live around?
She lives like 8 minutes away. She lives like near campus.
Okay. That's cool.
And
it's a good spot.
Yeah, no, it is. Hyde Park, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I'm like, do you think you could live with me now that I've just basically been here for like 2 weeks? And she's like, I think I could, but you know, so
keep that lease.
And I respect it because I'm like, yeah, you we just went through shit, and then now you're here. Not shit, but you know, you went through a thing.
A serious situation.
You went through a thing, and now you want to breathe.
Yeah, before.
And I'm all like, "What's up, girl?" And she's like, "All right, motherfucker, how about you?" And I'm like, "Respect." But
so her not saying yes is why you're going to New York.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck this.
Look, if I can't move in, I'm out this.
If I can't be attached to your hip, then I'm going across the country. That's what I'm doing.
Let's see how
so
this
then
goes.
for you, I'm like, yeah. I bet you if you found a nice little girl, imagine you with an Asian girl.
Yeah.
A nice Asian girl who could watch anime with you. And y'all could cut. And
sounds wonderful.
You have to give her the dog. You could get dog on one side and then her on the other side.
About the same sizes probably because they're so small. No, I don't know. In my dating history, it has like been pretty eclectic, like racially. Like I've been all over the.
Okay.
It's been diasporic, if you will say, but I will say that it's been less Asian, but I feel like this is more of a. When I was in San Antonio, I dated more Hispanic. When I was in Austin, I dated more white. I feel like it's a part of the demographics that I'm dealing with.
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
I know.
We did disagree on one issue though with the whites.
Which one was that?
On our podcast, I said I feel like if I'm dating a white girl, she has to be cute. And you're like, well, I just feel like about that in general. I'm like, yeah, semantics. With a white girl especially, she needs to be cute.
I don't get.
You don't get
No,
I would never date a girl that's not cute in general. Like, yes, that is true. But
why would you be like, oh, if she black and ugly, like, well, I gotta take one for the culture. But if she's white, she gotta be cute. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
No.
Gay people you think are cute.
No, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But what I'm saying is, like, you got to hear me. You got to hear me, though. You got to hear me. Like, going out, like, you got niggas out here going out in public and shit all the time with white girls that is a respect to all black women everywhere. I'm just sorry. It is what it is.
What are your feelings about? And I've recently had conversations about
interracial couples,
about interracial dating and interracial couples. And you're a black dude and you've dated interracially. How is that for you? What sort of things? Has it just been smooth sailing, or are there people that are like, look at Winston, with a Mexican girl in San Antonio?
So here's the thing. Like, I feel like you'll agree to this. I feel like on some level, when it comes to when you ask a girl what her type is, that's what it is. Like, a girl will tell you what her type is because girls are. The experience of being a girl is everybody kind of. We're not talking about fucking, but just in general, everybody kind of wants to get at you. Kind of wants to have your time. You know what I mean?
Men want to have any girl's time.
Yeah. I mean, like, not any girl on some level is being courted by several guys, is what I'm saying. So they get to pick their type.
Certainly.
You know what I'm saying? Most guys' type is what they attract. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very like nerdy and have like a white voice. I like anime and all this shit. It doesn't attract. I mean, I've dated black women. Nadia's black. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dating a black woman right now. And German. The German side of it's the German side of her that likes me. You know what I mean? Like, so it really just carries merit. But like, my point is,
the German
like,
side is holding back the nigga in her. That's like, it's okay.
It's like, he might sound white.
It's just Japanese cartoons.
You don't have to watch with him, just accept that he watches it. No, but I don't know. Like, I feel like when you ask a guy what his type is, when they tell you like, oh, I like white girls, oh, I like this, I like Asians, that's what they attract.
You know what? I think,
some level.
You know, this popped in my head. If someone's like, yo, I love Asian girls, you just mean porn. It has nothing to do with the people that you meet and interact with. You just like, hey, what kind of girls are you into? Sweet, nice, caring, Asian. You look at too much porn.
Yeah.
You need to reevaluate the question. Are you fucking kidding me?
It's a valid point.
I
don't see any faults in that logic.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty solid. At least 80% accuracy.
Yeah.
If one of the first things they say is Asian, it's like, bro, chill.
Yeah.
Chill.
I remember I was talking to a black female friend of mine, Shannon. She was on the podcast. It was on the It was literally on the podcast. So you can go watch the conversation.
That's one of the episodes I didn't see, so I'll be sure to do that.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I'm really funny and silly. I'm really silly, and she's like, we have a very sibling relationship where she's like, I'm like, what about this? And she's like, will you sit the fuck down? You know, and it's a very fun dynamic. Does this work?
Oh no, does it work? Is it charged up? Nice.
It's almost dead. But anyway, she's on there, and there was and we were talking about like dating and dating black girls and dating white girls and how like there's so much black baggage from me being a little light skinned boy who went to Catholic school and then got into public school, and then all the black kids were saying you're not really black.
Yeah.
Why do you talk like that?
That told to it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sure.
Why you talk like that? Why you listen to that music? Why are you doing this and that? And then like. And even to this day, I mean, I've hung out with black girls I just met that night, and by the end of the night, they're like, light skinned niggas like you are the pro. And I'm like, we just met. There's a girl, I met her. I met her. We were flirting all night. It was a light flirt, but it was like very flirtatious all night. And then she was like, light skinned niggas like you are the problem. And then she's like, bye. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, well, did she like me? Like, what the fuck?
And she was like y'all are the problem, but I'm gonna be in town for the next day. So if you want to hang
so if
out.
you're talking about it, no, I just, again, I mean,
but anyway,
I feel like anyone that says, like, for example, I'm not into a certain race, I feel like that's ridiculous. There's an attractive in every race, in my opinion. Like,
certainly.
So.
But so me and Shannon were talking, and there was this assumption that was like, yeah, man, like you were hurt in the past. I can see why you would avoid those types of people that hurt you. Like if black girls hurt you in a deep way, then I can see why you would avoid black girls.
Yeah.
But there was this implication there of like, but you should be with a black girl. And I'm like, well, wait, why?
Yeah.
Like I'm not I'm not trying to.
If it happens,
and when I was on the apps, I was always like, gotta give the sister. Hopefully this will work out. Hopefully it'll be good.
I'm rooting for black love. Okay.
I'm sincerely though. I'm like, yes, I'm looking for it. But we're in Austin, fucking Texas, and there's so many fucking cowgirl boots on and fucking the hairy armpits that I'm like. What?
Real quick. So have you ever done any dating apps in Austin?
Yeah, of course.
So which ones were you most successful on, would you say?
Hinge was
me too.
Loved Hinge.
Loved Hinge. Same. Like Tinder for me, for the experience of Tinder for me was just showing me that there were so many.
Much trash?
No, real quick.
A lot of trash on Tinder.
Yes, but so many like hot, beautiful women. None of them are interested in me.
No.
Not a single one. And I got like no matches. Like
Hinge is like, don't worry.
It was very humbling.
Hinge is like, don't worry, Winston. We went to Comic-Con. We got all the girls.
Show your personality. Yeah, for sure. No, yeah. So, and hey, I appreciate you, Hinge. You know what I'm saying?
Hinge.
Bumble, I got on there and it set my age at 75 and I couldn't change it. So anyone that matched with me, I'm like, why can you see my profile? Like, why are you setting?
You would get matches with, but that means you match with them too.
Yeah.
You would swipe on the 60-year-old bitch.
No. I mean, no, but like older, like 40s, fit, like young 50, maybe here.
Did you date any 40s or 50s?
Date or fuck? What are we talking about here?
What? Tell me. Tell me the oldest and tell me that. The oldest and tell me that story.
The oldest. I mean, I'm trying to think. What's the oldest? That sounds bad. I mean,
right,
probably like 20 years older, 25 years older.
Damn, that's wild.
I remember
Did y'all go on a date? Dates?
I mean, I feel like the older women know that like I don't necessarily want to be out here like in the streets.
But they invite you over for a drink and
a cocktail. Yeah. So I'll give you a prime example.
You sit on their plastic
Honestly,
sofa.
Austin's weird as fuck. So here's the thing. Have you ever heard of Colette's?
Who?
Colette's.
What is that now?
You never heard of Colette's? Colette's like the swingers club of like Austin.
No, I don't know anything cool in Austin.
Here's the thing. I've never been to Colette's, but I promise you, if I went, I would kill. I'm just a demographic. Like, I'm a black.
They old people?
Yeah, I mean, if any woman is like 40 to like 52ish, like for me, like guys like us, we were the forbidden fruit for most of their lives. You know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like, I remember when
we talk like this, so we're safe. We're exotic.
It's like the shallow end of the pool. They can just test it. You know, like they don't need to like dive all the way in.
Yeah, I am like the shallow end of the pool. I've been trying to come up with a way to describe myself.
Yeah, you know. But here's the thing, like the first, like literally, I moved here 2017, and I was doing Instacart as my first job when I first moved here. Literally, like the first couple months I was here, I was at the Austin Westlake HEB. This guy just walks up to me and goes, he's with his wife. He goes, "Hey, would you want to fuck my wife sometime?" And I was just like, "Holy shit, what?" And she was hot.
Mm-hmm.
So I took him up on it.
Oh, you fucked his wife?
Yeah.
Was he? I guess he was in there.
I mean, one of the times he was, but it was usually she would meet up and then like send him videos. It was weird. Austin's weird, bro.
Was he watching? Was he jerking it?
Yeah, the time that he was there. Yeah.
And how was that for you? Were you? I mean,
it didn't bother me. I'm telling you, his wife was.
You
hot.
knew what you were getting into.
Yeah,
so
I knew it. It wasn't like I was like,
you weren't like,
please
bro.
I knew that that was the cost I had to pay to fuck his hot wife. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and it was.
And they were older. And they were
they were probably like mid-40s.
Mid-40s. Yeah. And so like, were you? Was it like comedy where you like doing your thing and you were like, hey brother, what you think, man? Was that pretty good?
So here's the thing.
How was that?
You know what's funny? Have you ever heard of the site Field?
Yeah.
It's like the alternative dating site.
Yeah.
I've done that one before. I'm not on it right now, but again, like I've had a situation where it was kind of like a cuckold situation where it was like the guy wanted me to fuck his girl or whatever. And again, I know I'm being fetishized as a black man in this scenario. It is what it is. But I didn't get my dick wet. So it is. It's a mutually beneficial circumstance. And the first guy, he didn't want derogatory shit. But like the guy that I met on the app that wanted me to fuck his wife, like he was like, if you want to be like talking about how much deeper you're going in her and stuff, like I never did it in front of him there.
That's so funny.
But like we would do videos and he would want me to be basically disrespectful to him.
It's funny how he asked like, hey, and if you just want to,
disrespect the fuck out of me.
If you just want to talk about how much bigger your dick that is, man. It's like, nigga, I didn't come here to think about you.
I'm going to need you to make sure you make reference to how much better you are at fucking my wife than I am.
Like, yeah, you like that girl? You like that better than your husband?
I'm serious. That's basically what he said. He wanted to make sure that I made it a point to talk about.
I'm only asking because I would be concerned.
Yeah,
I'm very happy with my penis size. But if it was like,
if I'm disappointing,
if I'm like, no, I'm happy with it. I don't think the woman would be disappointed. I would be afraid that he would be disappointed. Where it's like, yo, that shit ain't. That shit's. I mean, it's
not a porno.
It's not like that much bigger.
No, yeah,
it's good. But
that's
like
me. We're the same.
But it's not like
I'm not ridiculously big.
Yeah, you're not fucking. You're not
getting
like,
in her cervix.
You're not like dwarfing me.
You're like 3/4. I'm 3/4.
It's like a medium to a large. It's like it still looks fine.
I'll say the first guy, he definitely had a small. The guy who was drinking off in the corner, like it was. If you had even a regular size, he had a small dick.
Damn.
So I didn't expect to talk about this on the podcast, but this is dope.
Listen, it was supposed to be about
success.
What are you doing to get better? And then you're like, all right, so I was fucking this 50-year-old bitch, right? And her husband was in the room jerking off a little baby penis, right? Yeah, man. Anyway, what was the question?
That was old me. So the way I get better is no. So. Damn,
I had to abandon the premise for this one. I was like, fuck it, man.
Fuck it. We're going down this rabbit hole. You know?
I mean,
we've had similar experience. I mean, like Austin's just a weird city.
It's a very white city.
Yes, it's very white.
It's very white, and we're in comedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's almost you have to.
I mean, I did improv. Yeah. That was more of my social scene was improv.
Yeah.
You think some cool ass black bitches are in improv? No, there's
not a single soul.
I can think of Shannon is the one black girl I can think of that was in improv. I can think of some other ones, but they weren't
not by name.
They weren't as involved. Like I can think of she was like one. She was very involved, like just like me. And it's like there's just not. There's not a lot of options.
Yeah.
That's why I want to go to New York. I want to go to fucking a black area. Like when I said before the podcast, like I want to live amongst the blacks.
Yeah, and I'm making it a point. You know,
I really am. I want to go. I want to live there. I want to like
real quick. So when you're looking at places in New York, like it's obviously a higher cost of living here than Austin. How much more are you willing to like pay monthly than what you are here to find a spot?
Sure, I can afford.
Yeah, okay.
But I can afford. I mean, I can afford.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't want to go above like $1,500 a month.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, and with a roommate, that's very doable. But like,
for sure, yeah.
If I could get. I feel like getting to like $1,200-$1,300 is possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially with the roommate factor.
Yeah, I feel like it. But I mean, I think the rents are going up. But I feel like I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I could do that. You ever think about moving?
So what's funny is part of like near the end, right before the pandemic, I started like that was the first time where I was kind of like tail doving on like going out to open mics, and I was like, well, fuck it. My whole plan was to try to go to New York by 2020 anyway. You know what I mean? And then the pandemic happened, so that kind of put a monkey wrench and all that. And I'm just like. The Austin scene's getting bigger. I kind of want to see where it's going. I'm a little bit more established in the scene anyway. I'm more established to the point where like I want to see where it goes for me in this scene. I'm not to the point where like you and Gabe are, where like you guys headline a venue. I've had like 2 headlining like positions since I've been in Austin. Like I feel like I have the material to do it. I feel like I'm good enough to do it. I I need to be better about networking and trying to get the opportunities, you know?
Yeah.
So, but
I feel like the one thing that I've heard about New York is that the scene is there's not a scene. There's scenes and they're all very big. So there's and there's not the hierarchy that there is in a scene like this. Like the social hierarchy.
There's definitely a hierarchy here.
There's a hierarchy in New York, but it's like, are you making money?
Yeah.
Are you an open micer? Are you writing for a show? Are you actually like touring? Like there's those kind of more practical hierarchies, which it involves more of like time and effort and skill.
Yeah, that's here, actually more of a meritocracy to the hierarchy.
It's closer, and here it's like it's really not. Especially now that more people have moved in, it's really not so much a meritocracy.
Yeah,
I can go, I can do well. People be like, hey, that guy's pretty good. Too bad I'm booking all my friends on the show.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like, and it's just.
And there's so many comics that it's like you're not. If you do a showcase somewhere, you're not doing that showcase again for like a while because they're just going to cycle through so many. There's so many people you got to put on. Right. You know what I'm saying? So. And
I'm like, I'm not ready. I don't want to. In order to compete in that sort of environment, you need to have something to offer besides talent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do the shit that
you got to barter on some levels. Like that's why running a show in Austin's almost crucial.
I know, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fucking out. Like I don't want to do that.
And there is a barter aspect to the thing, to everything though. Like that's why like it was a big deal when I was able to start running the show that I'm running now. I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. Now I can put people on, and maybe they'll put me on. The latter hasn't happened yet.
And it's a you hey, you want to be on my show, and it's like, oh shit, I guess Winston finally recognized.
Yeah,
you know, like that's how everyone feels. And it's like, and then you come and do the show.
Game recognized, like, game. Yeah.
Appreciate you. I'm gonna get you on mine. It's like it's all ego and dick sucking and
kind of
and it's I'm just kind of like I don't really feel like doing that. I'd rather try a new scene with higher.
And also I imagine like with the open mics in New York, at least there's audiences. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's probably worse.
You think it's more just only comics there?
Yeah, I think it's probably worse.
I guess that's true.
I think there are
it's bigger scale.
There are those mics.
That is true.
I heard about a pretty cool mic. Apparently, it's a popular one in New York. It's a mic where it's like you put your name in a bucket, but it's like a digital bucket, and then there's an algorithm that someone made that names will just pop up, and then you get 3 minutes, and then you can like within the first minute you can bet a minute, and if you continue to do well, they'll give you an extra minute. But then if you aren't doing well, then they'll take away your third minute. Like it's this weird it's a game within the mic. So everyone it's interesting, and so people like to go to it. And I heard that
and somebody might kill and get like 5 minutes out of it or something.
Yeah, like it's one of those kind of things. So it's sort of like a gamble. It's sort of like you never know when you're gonna go up, and then you get chosen, then you go.
And this is, if you know it's digital, it's a fair randomization too.
Right. Because I used to run where you write your name on a piece of paper, put it in a bucket, and then you draw it. And I was cheating all the time. I was like, Winston, all right, got you. And let's see, fucking Winston. Hey, come on up.
Whoever that name on that piece of paper was, guess what? You're not going up tonight.
Winston Dean. Don't say Winston Dean. It says whatever the fuck I wanted to.
It says Nathaniel Smith or some random shit. No, I mean, I'm sure, as you know, like comedy's a grind. It's about putting yourself out there. Again, I feel like I've gotten more gigs off of friendships and networking than I have off of actual ability and talent, which...
Well, I mean, you did great on my weekend.
I appreciate that.
You really did. I mean, I think a friend of mine who went and saw the show, he was like, that Winston fella, he was real funny. He was smart. Smart, funny jokes.
Thank you, random person that I don't know.
Chewy,
I appreciate it.
He was also on the pod. Did you watch Chewy's episode?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Chewy was like, that Winston guy was good.
Okay.
And and you really were good. So I think the talent
I appreciate it. I think I told you when Gabe, when he had me on after, because he had me hosting for him. It was me, and then he had a different middle person in each of the two sets that I did, and then him. And so it was funny, after the first show ended, he's like, bro, you killed it. You set it off right. You got the crowd going just perfectly. And after he was being so effusive, I was beginning to think in my head, this nigga thought I was gonna bomb. You know what I mean? He's really happy that I did well. Almost too happy. I was just no, I mean, I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
But again, I feel like so he had me doing 20 minutes with him. I feel like if somebody asked, do you think Winston has 20 minutes, they would probably say no, but it's because I haven't gotten the opportunity to do 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's really silly. I feel like even you said it where it was like, hey, I'm not like you and Gabe because y'all are headlining spots. I'm like, I just did that the other day.
Yeah.
Like before that, I didn't feel like I was that nigga that is headlining spots. You know,
like you're the first person to tell me that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, oh wow, I mean, like you're out there headlining spots. I'm like, yeah, but you're only saying that because I just did it. You know what I mean?
No. But here's the thing. I will say, I feel like in most.
You know what I mean? It's like if you never get pussy and then you fuck one girl and all the girls are like, oh, I heard Tyler gets pussy. It's like I don't. It happened.
I got pussy.
I had it one time, and now everyone thinks.
So no, real quick.
Which is more of the bullshit of this whole fucking comedy game we're playing.
It is. Here's the thing, though. One of my favorite things about doing stand-up is you legitimately, like, if you're out enough, you become fans of some of your peers. Sure. And I remember I was talking to my friend Shira about how I was like, I kind of want to because I had you and Gabe on my Tidbits and Randomness podcast, and I was like, I want to ask them because the dynamic was dope. It was funny as hell. It's been one of my best recordings so far, and I want to ask them to do the podcast, but I don't feel like I'm on their level. So I was like, nervous about it. Just ask, and I just asked, and you guys are both totally down. And I'm just like, maybe I need to stop being like just thinking all in my head about shit. You know what I mean?
He texted me, hey, you want to do the podcast? All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
You setting it up? Sounds good.
When you want me there?
Yeah. If I just got to show up, I can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah, I can do it. Tell me that. No, it's really silly. I remember remember Michael Good?
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he is good. He's Michael Good, and he's in New York. So stupid. And he's in New York, and he was out there doing his thing, and he was like, "Fuck, I want to start a show." And then he
a show or a podcast?
A show,
okay.
a stand-up show in New York.
Okay, gotcha.
He was like, I want to do a show with Andrew Dismukes because we started together. Mm-hmm. I mean, but I met him at my first open mic, and he was like, fuck, but he's on SNL now. Shit. And he was like, you know what, fuck it. Hey, you want to do a show together? He's like, sure. I would love to.
Yeah.
No one ever asked me to do shows. Because I'm on SNL.
That's the thing.
And then now they have a great show out there.
Yeah,
and
that's
they run
the thing.
It together.
Sometimes you get in your own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that is a big thing of we enter into this thing and we're so insecure. And we're talking about comedy, but it can be anything. You start doing a thing, you're so insecure, and you think that you have to do something to then deserve.
Yeah, measure up almost.
Yeah, and then you realize you actually don't have to. You can just fucking message people or ask people or do this and that, and then that is the whole thing. It's like, oh wow, he's out there really doing it, man. I wish I could really do it. It's like, I'm just asking.
Yeah, you could if you just put yourself out there.
I'm just trying it. I'm failing most of the time, and you only see the successes.
Yeah, and
then there you go.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna post a clip where I bombed.
Exactly, and that's literally what comedy is. It's like you go to open mics for years, bomb, and then you string together 5 minutes of material, and it's like, hey, that guy can. That guy's a killer.
That guy's a killer.
And it's like, no, I've been bombing my ass off, and I've managed to find 5 good minutes.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And that's what the whole game is.
It's a grind. It definitely. Here's the thing, so you've done FPIA before. You've advanced before, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you're a beast, bro.
I got to the finals. Yeah.
Oh, you did 1 year? The last one?
2018.
2018. Yeah. Okay. So the 2 years I've done it, I didn't advance either of the nights I did it, but both years that I did it, I had several people in the audience coming up like, bro, you should have advanced. Bro, you should have advanced. So it's kind of like, now that the new format is like, it's a crowd vote, I'm excited about that. But that being said, like our night, like you're on it. There's no one else that I really know besides Mariano, but I heard that they're changing Adam Lucky to our night, and he's a beast. So I'm like, okay, well that's 2 slots. So hopefully I can get on there with y'all too. But
sure, yeah.
But
I would say, because I would say for you, if I was going to give you advice, which you didn't ask for, but I'm going to give it.
No, please do.
Is just
let me beat you.
Yeah,
fuck your format.
Is I think because your jokes can be very like long and set up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, kind of just pick your quickest joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna
or even just do, if you have a long bit, like just do the first part that gets a pop and then get in
abbreviate.
And
out.
Yeah, like don't even like, if you're like, hey, but I'm making this great point at the end, it's like, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, well, you got 5 minutes, motherfucker.
This ain't the time for great points. Just get in and out.
No, you gotta get the quick hits. I think I have an idea of the jokes I'm gonna do that night, but who knows?
Are you a spiritual person?
I am not. That being said, like I'm very much a person that like I'm more scientifically minded. So for example, that being said, I've read articles that'll say that people that get prayed for example, recover at a higher rate. That's to me not a coincidence. I don't know if it's causation or correlation, but that has been proven that people that get people to pray for them and whatnot, they tend to recover at a higher rate. Yeah, you can look it up. So I'm not spiritual, but I feel like if that's your thing and you're rooted in it, it doesn't hurt. Religion could be a terrible or great thing, but you're talking about more spirituality. So I think that there's more than just this life. I think there's more to it all, but I'm not religious. If that makes sense.
So what is it? What have you done?
I guess it would be agnostic is the
definition. Have you done drugs?
I've done drugs, yes.
Have you seen God?
So the drugs that I've done acid, I've done ecstasy, I've done shrooms. The most shrooms that I've done at once is like 4 grams.
You can see God on.
Yeah. So here's the thing, like, so I heard you and Hunter talking.
I say see. It's
no,
more
I feel
like
you. Yeah.
You're like, oh, I feel you. I know you're there.
No, yeah. Let me put it like this, okay? So I heard you and Hunter talking about doing drugs, and he has like no experience apparently.
Yeah, fucking punk
bitch. Yeah. Do better. No.
Do better.
I remember the first time I did shrooms. I was at this. I lived in a duplex. And I was doing it with 4 of my friends, and the 5th person that was with us, it was 6 of us all together, he wasn't doing any, but the rest of the 5 of us were. And the way that the night turned out was, I've learned from this experience that the favorite thing I like to do, some people like going outdoors and all this different shit. I just love having conversations while I'm on shrooms.
Sure, yeah.
Let's have some like high level conversation, because it takes you out of your box and whatnot. And so the way the night was going was, if you sat on the staircase, you led the conversation. And it was getting to the point where
it was a game y'all were playing.
Yeah, it was more so like, what do you want to talk about? Well,
right.
Let me go next. I want to talk about this.
That's so cute.
Yeah, right. And it's also like
funny,
clearly like some drug shit. Like,
yeah.
But what's crazy is the one guy that wasn't on shrooms, he goes up and like just from the vibe of everything that we're talking about and how much like real shit we're talking about, he goes up and talks about like how much it affects him that he's like the only one in our friend group that doesn't have a relationship with his dad. And like he's talking about like, and like he's being vulnerable and like just like letting us know how much this hurts him and stuff. And it's like, that's the kind of shit that shrooms can do, is that you can have like some real ass convos that you would have never had with somebody.
Right.
Just because, and he wasn't even on shrooms, but he got the vibe of the room. You know what I mean? It's like, I can be vulnerable right now.
Right.
I can be honest with these guys right now. So that's pretty dope in my opinion. Like I would say, like, if I was a politician, I would do a Psilocybin Initiative. Like, if you do an 1/8 of shrooms, I'll give you $150.
I would vote for that nigga immediately. The Psilocybin Initiative,
bro. Like it wouldn't do damage.
No,
like I legitimately believe that some races.
What would be the initiative?
The initiative would be like, come to your local office, pick up an 1/8 of weed and a check. Basically,
of
take
weed?
an 1/8. No, I mean, my bad. An 1/8 of shrooms.
Yeah.
Like, go home, take a recording of you taking the shrooms, and like do like hour check marks of how you're experiencing it, and submit it, and we'll send you a $150 check after you're done. Just saying, like, thank you for doing it.
You gotta up it.
You'd be surprised, bro. Niggas are broke out here.
I mean, okay, yeah. The only people that would do that would be people who already like shrooms.
Yeah, okay.
If you try and get the convert.
I watched a 60-minute special where this lady said, like, because like, they were doing like concentrated psilocybin like shots or whatever, where they were making people lay down, cover their eyes, and just experience it. And this lady said that she said that she would put it on the level of experience-wise throughout her life, like how important it was with that of having her kids. Like the moment,
for sure.
Yeah, so like it can be transformative. Like,
oh no, I know. I know it can be. I wish I did the ayahuasca.
You did it already?
Yeah, I did it already.
What day did you go?
When?
Yeah, what day did you?
We did it Saturday.
Because I know you were talking about going, so y'all drove up and everything.
Yep, drove up Friday. And
did you throw up?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So what was the experience like for you, and what was it like for her?
So for both of us, it was not our most intense psychedelic experience.
Okay.
So both of us feel like we didn't get the full thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately.
What is your biggest psychedelic experience? Shrooms?
I took like 4.5 grams one time, and I was fucking like, if there's if there's like a bar, like I imagine like a bar that. Like a health bar in a video game, and it's like 100%. It's like normally I'm 100% Tyler, and then when I took those shrooms, I was like, oh, I'm now at 20% Tyler, 80% shrooms. I'm mostly not there anymore. It's mostly the shrooms.
It's funny. No, I feel you.
And it's like I really had like a real spiritual like, oh fuck, and just like close my eyes and could feel.
Looking at the macro, not just the micro.
Yeah, and I remember I had visions. of like a seed going in the ground, and then the plant grows, and then
this is from the shroom strip or the
shrooms.
Okay.
And then the farmer chops it down, and then the food we eat, the food
nourishes us.
Like the cycle of life happening. And I was just watching it happen with my eyes closed, like, fuck, man. And my friends was like, dude, we're gonna watch fucking
Midsummer.
We're gonna watch Steven Universe. And I was like, bro, I'm coming. You know? I'm like, but man, I had a real feeling of like, oh, God is a real thing. I mean, as far as whatever God is.
No, I feel you.
God, he, they, it. It's like,
I
it's
feel like
real.
you can't have a major psychedelic experience and then walk away thinking this is it.
Yeah.
You know, there's planes of existence that we're not even experiencing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If I really feel like whenever I'm at my most, like, even when I meditate real good, or like, I remember there was a time when I was like microdosing a good amount. I remember driving in my car and seeing everything and feeling like the reality that we're looking at is just like it's like taking this White Claw and putting a blanket over it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we just see the blanket. We don't see what's underneath. And like, but in like not in a 3D.
This experience is surface.
Yeah, like not in a 3D, like not in a 3D way, but in like a 4D way. Like even if you dig into the ground and you're like, but where is? Let me break through. It's like it's all this reality is this surface, and there's some. I had this this real feeling of like, this is all an illusion, and there's something much
more
deeper in another like
plane.
Fourth, fifth dimension that we can't experience because we're stuck in this 3-dimensional place. It felt really vivid to me of like, oh, our minds can't comprehend what the fuck is
just
happening.
Like, for example, like when you see like certain patterns in reality and whatnot, I feel like that's like almost like tapping into it all. It's like, this is common throughout everything or something like that, and you notice it or something, and it's just, I get what you're saying there. So real quick, y'all went up there. Y'all took it. Did you was it in the morning you took it, or like what was the situation? Sundown, and was there a shaman that was with y'all?
There was a shaman.
Did the shaman take it with you guys?
Chris the shaman, yeah.
Okay, he took it with y'all.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Was it a group or was it just y'all two?
It was about maybe 25 people.
Okay. Did you make any friends out of the group?
No, we did not like these people.
Why is that?
Because
just the vibe of them, the cut of their jib.
They were very nice people.
But this was an experience for you guys together, kind of.
Yeah, there was that, but also it was just like, it was like, imagine. Okay, so we're in Colorado, and we go to this small town, and then we drive outside of the small town, and then we drive like 13 miles into the woods. Like it's like they could have killed us and buried us and ate us, and it would have been, they could have burned our car and like
just the start of a scary movie.
Yeah,
for
like
sure.
easy. Like we were totally vulnerable.
A lot of trust was involved in this experience.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they could have fucked us so easily.
Yeah, you know? Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, in any way possible. Yeah. And but they were all very nice. And it was basically like a cult. Like it was
a commune at least.
Yeah, it felt like Chris was the cult guy.
Yeah,
he was like the leader, and
he's fucking everyone's their wives.
And he felt. I remember I asked the dude who welcomed us there. It wasn't him. I was like, "How did this place come to be?" And he was like, "Well, it probably started with Chris. Chris was always a person interested in consciousness. Even from a young age, at 5 years old, his mother said that he would stare in the mirror and look at himself, trying to see what he was seeing with." And I was like, nigga, this is a cult. I know a cult when I hear it. I asked you a simple question.
You look at your girl like, you sure you want to do this?
I mean, look, I said, how did this come to be? I meant like, well, we paid this guy. Like, how did you get this land?
I meant literally, how did it start out, bro?
I'm like, I don't mean like, it
all started in a summer morning.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, this is fucking weird shit. And we go there and we take the little cup. I didn't know if I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Are you still on the fence?
I mean, I think
even after the 15-hour drive,
I was still nervous, and I was telling myself, hey, if you don't feel like doing it,
if you want to tap out.
If you could tap out. And then, but then we're sitting in the yurt, it's sundown. They're handing out cups of ayahuasca. And I'm like,
fuck it.
This is a tough time to say no. I'm smelling it.
Yeah, this is like you're on the 1 yard line. You got to just go
I'm like,
and
I'm just like, and I did that shit. And I was like, fuck. How
long did it last? Like 12 hours or?
No, like we were done at midnight. To go to 8, maybe done at 4 hours.
Oh, so it's less than like an acid trip then, because acid.
Acid. I mean, nothing's as long as an acid trip.
Acid takes
like 12 hours. Yeah,
like that's the one negative. Like you're not going to sleep or nothing until like a little.
Well, I mean, we would wake up in the morning and do it.
Okay,
we'd wake up early. So,
gotcha.
But yeah, so it did that shit.
By the way, real quick, a lot of black people don't do psychedelic. Like I feel like black people need to do more psychedelics overall. Like black people will delve into like weed, and then like when they go into harder drugs, it's more like the cocaine, like cracks thing.
Yeah, like either numb or party.
Yeah, they don't really delve into the psychedelic of like what is life type of drugs. You know?
I wonder what that is.
I don't know, but it's definitely a thing.
I think if I had to point it on, I would put it on religion.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. No, I mean religion's one of the worst things. If you ask me, what religion. Organized religion is one of the worst things that's ever happened to Black America. Like, do you remember when that lady went into the house of that guy and he was eating ice cream and she shot him thinking that she was in her place, but it was his place, but she was on the wrong floor?
I think I remember the story.
And then when she like got her sentence of like 15 years or whatever, the brother of the guy who died was all like, I don't want you to go to prison. And like, he's like gave her a hug and shit. I'm like, bro, keep that shit to yourself. Like that whole, like the whole mantra of like the meek shall inherit the earth, like, turn the other cheek, like that was used to keep us in bondage, you know what I mean, like to justify the treatment that we were getting. And it's done more than it's been generations later where shit will happen to us that is egregiously just like terrible, and we'll be like, I don't blame you though. It's like, no, fuck that bitch. Your brother was eating an ice cream sundae in his own place and got shot.
Man, it's really hard to be Black.
Because
I'm thinking about it. This is how I break it. This is how I feel. Is like when I hear that story and I hear like when I hear Christianity was the worst thing to happen to Black people, like my initial reaction, especially since you're asking me about the spirituality ayahuasca trip and then we go into this, my first reaction is like, nah, man, because it's not like it's not like if we weren't Christian we would have rose up. Yeah. Like that wasn't a possibility.
No, it wasn't the only thing. Yeah, for sure.
That wasn't what was holding us back.
Yeah, that wasn't the glass ceiling.
That was just what made us
subservient.
That was just what it was. Just it was a what is it? What
it's the apple that makes you like will get better.
What's the word? Like religion is the opiate of the masses. Okay. That's all it was, which is fine. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like that whip is what kept us. That's what kept us fucking working, man.
In fact, they had guns and we didn't. Strong reasons.
That had much more power than Jesus did.
No, for sure.
And the teachings of spirituality and Christianity, and obviously it has its problems and dogma and religion. People take it and turn it into something else. But like, while I was on ayahuasca, it wasn't a very intense trip. I saw a fish at one point. That was kind of it. I saw there was a dude with a drum, and then I looked at the drum, and the drum was kind of turned into a fish and kind of swam at me for a split second, and I was like,
"Oh shit!"
I was just kind of like, "Oh, I see what ayahuasca could be." I didn't take enough, so that was that.
Okay,
but like,
you got to sample.
If I had taken more, it would have been like, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
So like, I'm on and one of the things I got to is I was in there, and everyone's purging, everyone's throwing up in the buckets. And it's just happening constantly throughout the 4 hours. And I never purged at all. And I was sitting there.
Did your
girl? She did a couple times.
Okay.
And I was sitting there and I was like, well, yeah, of course I didn't purge. I don't have anything to work on.
I don't have any impurities.
I mean, pretty much I was like, because my girl was going there to like heal some trauma.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people do ayahuasca to heal some trauma.
And that's what they say it does. And depression goes away for some people.
I mean, that's what Neil talked about.
Yeah,
Neil
exactly.
Brennan.
Yep.
And I don't. And I don't really have trauma like that.
Yeah.
So I felt sort of out of place in that. And that was the narrative that was in my head. And I was just hearing people throwing up, and it sounded awful. I mean, it just sounded like they were fucking...
violent.
Some of it felt kind of violent. Yeah. And I was like, man, that sounds so unpleasant. I was like, I hope they're okay. And I was like, fuck. All these people are just here to heal themselves. Mm-hmm. That's all these people are doing.
It's therapy.
They're just trying they're going out to the fucking woods in Colorado where they could be killed and raped and murdered just for the chance to heal whatever the fuck happened to them in their lives. And it was just this very profound thing of like, oh, there's so much sadness in this room, but there's so much courage in trying to fix it.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? And then you come out of that situation and you're like, how could Christianity be the worst thing to happen to Black people? If it's possible to give them that, if it's possible for a Black dude to be shot and killed, and then his son, his cousin, what'd you say?
Yeah, his brother
was like, yo,
I don't think you should go to prison.
We're all just trying to fucking heal, man. I'm sure you were afraid too. I'm sure you walked into your own house, you thought, and killed a guy you thought, and I'm sure you feel terrible about it, and it's not gonna bring back our son.
Yeah.
So fuck it, man. I don't want you to go to jail. I'll give you a hug. I wish you the best, because the world's full of suffering, and what we can do is we can try to help each other heal and get better, you know?
And I feel that. I feel that. But like my whole thing is...
But here's the thing. Here's the button to it. But then after we do the ayahuasca, of people who live in the community, there's one guy there who's black, and his job is to clean the purge buckets. And I was like, fuck these racist ass cracker motherfuckers making the one black dude with dreads clean all the fucking throw up. Man, fuck these white people. Christianity was the worst motherfucking thing to happen to black people, because I bet you this nigga...
Look at this subservient bitch.
Like, this nigga right here thinks he's like, well, I'm just doing what the mother ayahuasca told me. Nah, nigga, you doing what white folks tell you to do. You fucking slave out here, okay, in the fucking mountains of Colorado. You fucking kidding me? You better put all
Wake
this
the
shit
fuck
in one
up.
bucket and throw it in Chris's motherfucking face. Why the fuck are you? And he did it the night before, and then he did it the morning of. And I'm like, why are you still cleaning these white folks' vomit?
That's pretty bad. The one black guy.
I'm like, what the? And everyone's inside eating breakfast, eating eggs, talking
that
about
was
their
great.
trip. Oh my God, it was so fucking magical. I really learned something about myself. It's like while the niggas outside cleaning the fucking buckets. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So
maybe religion was the worst.
It's hard to be a black person. It's hard to you have your humanity, and then you're like, these crackers, right? Oh, these crackers! Oh, these crackers doing it again.
That was great.
Oh my God! So
it's like the greatest hits, if you will. Tale as old as time.
I mean, so I don't know.
And my whole my issue with him saying it out publicly like that was more so like, and it's not his fault. But like, you're speaking for all of us right now, low key. Like, you know, like, and we don't want to hear that shit. Like, like we're just glad the lady got some time, because that wasn't even guaranteed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now your bitch ass is like, we just don't think you should have any time. It's like, well, keep that to yourself, like, because
but he's allowed to.
He's allowed to have his opinion.
We're all.
You're right. I just wish he kept to himself.
Here's the most light skin. I'm the most light skin shit I can say. I'm over this whole. Like this idea of black solidarity. It's like it's never existed.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And it's like it never will exist. Here's something I heard. You know who?
There's a black hierarchy. Yeah.
You know who Adolf Reed is?
No, I do not.
He's like a black socialist philosopher guy.
Current now or
current. And a lot of people like accuse him of like coonery and shit like that. Because he
coonery.
He says things like, you know, he's like, black people are a category. We are not a group.
Okay.
And people like to paint it like black people are this group of people who are fighting for a thing. And it's like, no, like we're not. Like just like in America at large, there is a class hierarchy. There are poor blacks and there are rich blacks.
Even when it comes to African versus African American.
Sure. I mean, all that shit. And he's like, there's poor blacks and there's rich blacks. And and then his point is like, even when we talk
about... Do you know about Jack and Jill? You ever heard about that?
They went up the hill?
No, so like Jack and Jill, the program.
Okay.
Like, so it's an affluent program for like affluent black kids. Like, so basically like my parents got invited to have us in it, and my dad was like, no, because like you only get an invite if you're a really successful black person, and then your kids go to all these events together and whatnot and grow up together. It's basically like,
right,
if you're a certain level of success in the black community.
I think I knew someone who was in that. But.
Yeah. And my dad didn't want us to do it because he was just like, no, I feel like that's separating like within the group of each other, basically. And he talked about like he went to Howard University.
Yeah,
like
your dad.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
cool.
mom and dad met at Howard, and he even talks about it, like whenever you hear these like things like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt's daughter, like Zahara, whatever her name is, she just got accepted to Spelman and she's going to go to Spelman. Number one, that speaks to Brad Pitt and Angelina what kind of household they were, letting her know you're black. Right. For you to be going to, they're not saying here in her ear like maybe you should go to Brown. Like they're like, no, go to Spelman. Like experience your black experience, and that's dope. Good job, Brad and Angelina.
I mean, that also could have just been the kid.
No, yeah, for sure. Yes, but that being said, at the end of the day, your parents could try to dissuade them. Sure. You know,
but they're also like, you know, they're worth $40 billion, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, go wherever the fuck you want. You're fine.
Either way, like you definitely have a little bit of a net to land on.
Yeah,
so. But so he even talks about like a lot of the times the bigger HBCUs will be getting like notoriety and stuff, and it's like, damn, like the FAMUs or like the Savannah States, like they get no funding and whatnot. Meanwhile, Spelman, Howard, Hampton, those are the ones that you'll hear about, like getting like all the programs where like Denzel Washington donates $500,000 to the theater program at Howard or something. So, but I forgot where I was going with that. But yeah.
What was I saying? I was talking about Adolph Reed.
Oh yeah, you were talking about how like we're just different categories. Yes,
just how like we're a category, we're not a group. Where there's different class. There's poor blacks, and the poor blacks. I mean, there are whites just as poor as the poor blacks.
That's the most connecting factor. Is
and it's like the racial wealth gap that we talk about. He mentions like it's really a racial wealth gap between the richest black people and the richest white people. That's where the wealth gap is. And he talks about these things, and it's like, fuck, man, like that goes against what black culture is. And he's a black dude talking about this shit. And I like socialist ideas as well, and I like these black ideas. And sometimes they kind of go at each other, because once you bring in class,
for sure,
it kind of
inherently
I think class is the root of race. And because we've created race to have class be, to kind of bring class into the physical space. Like,
we're both reading that book where it talks about like when it started to break down.
Stamped from the beginning, a definitive history of racist ideas.
I gotta say, it's been great. I'm only about 50 pages in, but one of the things they talked about was how early on, like they would start doing things to make it the popular like thing that was said about black people. They're sturdy. They're great workers in the field and whatnot. Native Americans, they fold out there. You can't have them as slaves because they just don't have the build for it. They're weak and stuff like that.
And then the Native Americans were like,
we're weak as shit.
We are weak, man. We can't. Ooh,
this sun just gets to me, bro. What can I say? It's like,
I wish I had that African muscles. You should get more Africans out here.
We're just not built for it. You know, we're just not built for
they
it.
Literally like,
they passed the buck.
Right. That sounds right.
They passed the buck.
I struggle with like when I really think back to like those times, and like when humanity knew nothing, and then you just see a bunch of you're white and all you've ever seen is white people, and then you see a bunch of dark-skinned black people, and you're just like,
the culture shock that it must have been.
Culture shock, and then you live in houses and horse and buggy, and then they're like fucking living more hunter-gatherer lifestyles,
like barbarian,
and you're just like, I guess we really are killing superior. It, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
we're
like,
superior. Basically.
You know what I mean? And it's like part of me is like, it's really and the book talks about how like racist ideas have always been around, and there's kind of always been anti-racist ideas too, to kind of,
they just haven't been propagated on the same level.
Exactly.
They even talk about like how certain like philosophers back to the time of like fucking like whatchamacallit, Socrates and shit, they had pundits that were anti-racist at that time, but their material wasn't necessarily being put out nearly as much as people like Aristotle, who's saying like Greeks are superior and whatnot. Like, that's the stuff that was being propagated and put out. While if you were saying like, well, actually, we're all basically the same. It's just the product of your situation and circumstance where you grow up. If you go to an area where the Industrial Revolution hasn't happened, there's no need to have technology to be able to do all that stuff. So, yeah.
Have you read Guns, Germs, and Steel?
Yes, I have. Yeah. That's a great one. Yes.
So you know.
That was that's one of the history books, like when you're getting your degree, like you like Guns, Germs, like that one, and then Shogun is like if you do an Asian history course basic.
Should I read Shogun?
Shogun is amazing. Like I loved it.
What is it?
It's kind of a fiction story, but it's loosely based on like the first Dutch explorer that landed in Japan. And like, so like he's experiencing things where he's seeing like somebody feel shame, so they commit seppuku, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, so it's just like the first European experiencing Japanese culture. Right. It's really good.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they think that they were inferior? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, when you have, for example, when you have, I always say human nature goes to the way that if Africa experienced the Industrial Revolution first, they would have been the ones going out here like being imperialistic, taking over countries and whatnot.
Yeah, I think so.
It's human nature to want to conquer, and like it's fucked up, but it is what it is. You want to try to spread your culture and what you think is right and the way of life to everyone else, and especially when it comes to stuff like religion, because you're at the point where it's dangerous and you feel like you're saving them from themselves. Like, you know what I mean? You have that mentality of they need me.
I don't know if it was Guns, Germs, and Seals. It might have been Sapiens. You read that one?
I know which book you're talking about, but I haven't read
one
that
of those books talked about how, like, you know, Christianity came in this small part in the Middle East, and then it spread. And the reason, but there were so many other different kinds of offshoots of Judaism and sort of pseudo-Christian ideologies. And it's like, so why did the modern day Christianity take hold? The reason it took hold is because in the belief system was to proselytize.
Okay.
Jews aren't like, hey, Winston, you should come be a Jew. Jews are like, yo, we're Jews. And like y'all can
Jews are almost like a race thing at this, like, it's like,
I mean, you can convert to Judaism.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying, like, when it comes to like their history, it's like you can root it back to a certain part of the world, and like that's the difference. But
Christianity was kind of the first religion where it's like, no, your job is to get as many followers as possible. And it's sort of like
create missions, all this stuff. Yeah.
And I feel like it's sort of the similar with these racist ideas where it's like, what is the racist idea that's it's like it's social theoretical Darwinism or whatever. It's like, what idea spreads the quickest and the easiest given the nature the nature of the people and the culture.
It's almost when it first became an area where they could make money, you know, on some level.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like the more followers we have, the more money we're going to get also. Like, so that doesn't hurt either. It became kind of a venture. Yeah. More so than just it was more, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's gold. It's the 3 Gs that they always talk about: gold, glory, and God. Like, they get money out of it. Like, they get to spread their gospel. You're getting more than one positive out of it, but a big part of it was also the financial parts of, like, we're making, like, we're building these missions in these areas of the world, but we're also rooting our country in this part of the world as well, so that we can have trade routes and all this. It was more than just the religion aspect as well. So
I think that you probably haven't gotten there in the book. I think the craziest thing in the book,
are you almost done with it, or have you finished?
No.
Okay.
Whenever I read books like this, it's so hard. It makes me think about like black people and black culture today and be like, why are we holding on to this idea of blackness? Because whenever you go back and you look at the history of it, it's like they talk about in the book that the elites at the time purposefully associated white and Christian, because like there weren't white people. They came to America and then they were like, okay, all the Europeans were like white, and then like all the Africans, they're
white.
Black.
Wasn't an idea until,
and it's like, but that's just a thing to say. There's no identity involved with that. So what they say, well, white people are Christian and Christian are white, and it's like, oh well, I am Christian. So I guess I'm white too. And it's like, well, and black people are slaves, and then slave is black. So then we associate black and slave. Of course, you know, I'm sure they didn't use the word black. And they use other things, but it's like
people of color, like your job.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, the people of color here, we'd hate to be disrespectful, are slaves. And it's like, man, it's associated so fundamentally with a subservient position in society that, you know, like I am black because there's nothing else for me to be. But it's like I'm black just because I'm told that. Just like back then. And now there's different connotations and there's different historical contexts and stuff like that. But it's like, you know.
I get what you're saying.
It's a weird. I struggle with.
No, here's the thing. I will say, in my experiences, so for example, like as you even joke about, like when you're around a group full of black people, if they're like roasting and there's no white people around, it's us that get roasted. You know what I mean? Like, but that being said, I never necessarily get the vibe that it's malicious. It's more so it's your turn. You know what I mean? And this is what we're going to make fun of you about. Like, this is what we get to make fun of you about, is that, like, look at this light-skinned ass nigga. Like, shit like that. You know what I mean? Versus, like, my friend Donnell, who might be darker or something, it's like they're going to roast him because, like, he has no game with the ladies. Like, look at him over here. Like, that's what they make fun of him for example. It's just what they make fun of me for is who I am. So it's kind of fucked up, but that's neither. It's out of my control. Not. I've never really felt like it was. That being said, when I was younger, yes, in high school and stuff, or like middle school, or even elementary school, I will say if it was like from my black peers and they were making fun of me for who I am and my voice, or if I'm studying and they're like, you're acting white, those were malicious. But as an adult, it's more so just like we're roasting you for what we can roast you for. You know what I mean?
But I guess I always wonder
what about being light skinned makes us roastable?
Well, if you're gonna roast me because I'm soft, roast me because I'm soft.
Which I am. Please believe
that. I am all the things you're saying I am. But why do you put this under the umbrella of light skin?
Yeah, it's just
because it hurts me more. I guess I understand them, but
no, yeah. I mean,
if the goal is to hurt, then yes, it's working.
I think it's just become the trope over time of life.
Yeah.
That's the thing that they got to get. Usually,
it's probably the same. It's probably the same shit about like why white women are getting shit on so much right now. It's like,
it's your turn.
It's just the It's just
it's your turn.
It's easy and it's safe and no one cares and it's fine. And
you're an easy target for sure. Yeah. But so, can you pinpoint the first time that you had that you can remember where you had like a racist situation?
Situation?
Yeah, where you were like, okay, like I'm being treated differently because of like my color. Right? Can you think of that? Because I don't know the first time it happened for me that I can think of.
I mean, I certainly was aware that I was black in elementary school, and I wasn't being treated negative. I remember this one kid always said I had a big nose, and I was like, I think that's a black thing.
Yeah. I think that's almost racist.
I was like, I think I have.
I will say my nose is nothing but cartilage, so I'm like evolved. If you punch me in the face, it's not going to break.
Isn't everybody's nose cartilage?
It's all There's no bone in my nose.
Well, you got that bone.
I mean, like way back. Like, look, you got to hit me right on the bucket.
I guess you're right. I guess I got.
Most people's bone goes like down to here or something.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Mine's like way up to the bridge.
Huh.
So
fascinating.
I don't like fighting, but I'm built for it. Huh. Besides not having hands.
Anyway, yeah, but that's all that comes to mind. I remember. Because I didn't think I was black at first. I thought I was white.
Okay.
When I was a kid. I thought me and my mom were white and my dad and my brother were black.
Okay. Is your brother darker than you?
Yeah, he's darker. He's probably about your skin tone.
Okay.
And then my dad's probably maybe a touch darker than you.
Okay.
And then my mom's maybe a touch lighter than me.
Okay.
So I was like, me and my mom, we're white and then y'all two are black. And that's just what it is. And that's what I thought.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
That's what I thought. And then
I'm like the same with my mom. We're lighter than my twin, my sister, and my dad are darker.
Yeah. And then my mom was like, no, we're a black family. We're all black.
You're not exempt.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then I remember, it's kind of sad. I remember feeling in elementary school because I was going to this private, basically all white.
Yeah.
I mean, there were other minorities, but
I feel you.
I was like, I remember thinking like, oh, I can't let anybody know. Isn't that the funniest, saddest? I can't let anyone know I'm black.
Yeah, but I feel
I'm fucking just a little light skinned black boy with my black daddy coming to pick me up from school. And I'm like, hey,
they know.
Hey, keep this shit on the DL, dog. Hey, don't let nobody know that we black.
Dad, park around the corner. Hey, I'll walk over.
No, I don't. You can pick me up because you black. Everyone sees you're black, but they don't know that I'm black too. I'm your father. Yeah, I know. But they don't realize that the blackness passed. Because I just it wasn't like a black shame. It was just like I didn't want to be different.
No, yeah, for sure. It's just easier when you aren't.
Yeah,
you know. I remember when I used to live in Nebraska, and my friend we were just all hanging out. It was me, my friend Scott, and Michael. And my friend Michael was like, we're about to go to his house. He's like, we were walking up, and like he's like, oh, my grandma's home. Like she's like visiting. I didn't realize she was gonna be visiting today. Like, you don't want to, like, I'll hang out with you tomorrow. To me, basically, and I was just like, why aren't you saying it to both of us? He's like, she's kind of like mean to black people. Basically, he didn't say racist, but like she's not nice to black people.
How old were you?
I was like 6.
Yeah.
And so like what's sad is that
he was
like
looking out.
Yeah, he was looking out, but what's sad is that his grandma was to the level that he had to like be like, yeah, bro, like.
And he was 6 also?
He was 6 also, being like, you don't want to come in. You don't want to come in.
Man, what a social intelligence that a 6-year-old must have to be like, my friend's black, my grandma hates black people. I understand what that means enough to warn my friend not to come. Maybe that was a parent thing. Maybe
I feel like don't bring.
He's like, go tell little Winston he can come back tomorrow. He can't.
Right, I'm like, he's so pure.
He can't. He's like, why can't he come today? Just tell him that grandma's hates black people. Just go tell
There's
them
no way to
grandma
paint this picture with that.
and then I'm like, that's a cool ass parent. Just being like, yo, tell him that.
Let's save his, like, it's gonna hurt in the moment, but it'll hurt more if he comes inside. You know what I mean?
I think the first properly racist thing, it was this boy in Boy Scouts.
Okay.
There was this
Of course,
family,
go
the
on.
Gilly family, and I remember Jared Gilly. They were just like kind of openly racist, and like none of the white folks cared. And then like I remember this motherfucker.
Tell us all this time. Go
this
on.
motherfucker was supposed to work with me. Like we had the same position, then we were supposed to work together, and he would just kind of ignore me, and he'd go around and be fun with everybody else. And then like it gets around that it's like, oh no, he's just like pretty much openly. He's like, hey, if black people don't prove themselves to me when I first meet them, then, you know, if they can't.
How old was he?
I mean, it was like 13, 14, you know? But his father,
That's ingrained.
But I think his dad was the same way. And,
Yeah.
and I tell like one of the like older kids, I was like, hey man, like, he's like racist. And he's like, yeah, he's a little racist, man. You know, what are you going to do? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we need to do something. I don't know what. We need to go call. Where's Jesse Jackson when you need, like, what do we do?
You're like, he has a merit badge. What the fuck do you mean?
You know? And he's just like, come on, man. And his attitude was kind of like, come on, man. It's like, you know, like you like video games. He's racist. Like I like, you know, cheesecake a lot. You know, like we all got something.
We got our thing, you know?
And it's just like,
his
fuck.
thing's oppression.
And it was just like, oh, these motherfuckers don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
You know, tale as old as time.
It's damn. It's crazy.
No, yeah. So, but so you said you're moving to New York around October, or you're gonna be moving actually?
I'm moving in September,
November.
but then I'll be around
Okay.
here in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna assume you're gonna advance, huh? No, I feel you though.
I
You
shrugged
should.
for the
No.
listeners.
Yeah, he shrugged, but like he should advance. So I'm not even mad at you. I'm not. Even, I want to be like this this cocky motherfucker. No, I'll be shocked if you don't. So I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Well, I guess I feel like we've been doing this for a minute. We can wrap up.
All right.
The last question I'll ask, even though we got way far away from the topic of the podcast, which I think is totally fine because I think we got to some more interesting.
We
things.
got some interesting convo.
We had some interesting convo that we couldn't have had if we were following the format, and I'm fine abandoning the format
for the sake of content.
For the sake of content. So, but I will end with a format, which is, what advice do you have for me?
To beat myself?
To beat you. Or you know, I mean, that's just the fun part. What advice do you want to give me or the world?
Just at the end of the day, even when it feels like, for example, I'll put it in the frame of doing comedy. When you're doing open mics and you feel like it's a fruitless endeavor and you're just going out to these mics that fucking suck dick, like objectively just suck, every single time you're going up there, if there's a merit of skill in what you're doing, if you are actually like have something going on there, people will be noticing if you're putting yourself out there. So it's about going and doing it even when you don't want to, and having the efficacy to hold yourself accountable. So for me, I think the best way to beat anybody is to just work harder than them.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds simple, but if you're out here grinding and you have what it takes, it's only a matter of time till you get some level of break to get to where you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is a meritocracy on some level. Now, when it comes to fame and all that, you need your breaks, you need your luck and all that. But when it comes to being able to do this type of profession as something that you're passionate about and making money on, if you're putting in the work, you'll probably be successful. So just work harder than the person next to you. Yeah.
You know, that reminds me of I remember like growing up, my dad, he would like do he would do like some construction-y sort of thing sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I remember we would help him, and he wanted and there was like a wall or something that he needed building, and he wanted us to help build the wall, and me and my brother, we were nervous about making the wall.
Oh, okay.
And then and my dad taught us how to put a brick down, and he was like, if you just lay one perfect brick, that's all you got to do, and eventually the wall will come. And after a whole year of every day working and trying to build that brick wall, we finally built the wall. And my dad was like, Will, you're going places. And I was like, thanks, Dad. And then I became a movie star, and then I slapped Chris Rock in the face at the Oscars. And I swore you were gonna recognize that story.
No, I've never heard that story.
You never heard Will Smith's brick story?
I've never heard that.
I was like, if anyone's gonna recognize this, it's gonna be Winston.
Bro, I don't even want to talk about. I don't talk about Will Smith right now. I'm waiting until 2023. I'm on hiatus from him.
You were so dramatic.
Look,
you
everything. Look, there was a scenario that night where he slaps Chris Rock, and I would have been fine with it. It wasn't the way he did it. It was bitch made the way that he went about it. But that's a topic for another time.
It was just such great TV.
Oh my God! It was the most memorable night of 2022, possibly.
I mean,
and Russia invaded Ukraine this year, so.
Yeah. I mean, man.
That's not being hyperbolic.
It was we talked about it for oh my God.
Such good content.
What a great moment for the country.
Yeah, for the culture.
Yeah, it was really great.
Like the fact that he was light skinned slapping a dark. Oh, just so many conversations that could be had. Like, what if it was reversed? Like, would the reaction be different? Colorism says it would.
I wonder. Will Smith's so beloved. Like, who's a beloved black man?
Denzel.
If Denzel slapped fucking
Tracy Morgan, let's get
everyone would be like, hit him again.
The Walmart truck wasn't enough. No. That's terrible.
All right, look, you got anything to plug or anything you want to mention?
Our podcast that we do together, the Light Skin Perspective, we do it twice a month. It's only going to be about so much longer because you're heading out, but it's been a great ride, so I'm definitely looking forward to putting out a couple more episodes with you. But also monthly, I do a showcase that's turning into what's really cool is my brother lives in San Antonio. I have a twin brother. We look nothing alike. But I do a monthly show since April. He comes up every month for it and supports. And the venue said that he's really good at smoking meats, like so good that I feel like he could do it as like a restaurant.
Right.
But he makes well into the six figures doing computer shit. So no point in doing that. But he's going to start doing like cooking for my showcase. So we're calling it a comedy cookout from now on.
Can I get food if I'm not on the show?
Yeah, come through. Yeah. Please do.
That?
The next show is going to be August 13th. It's a Saturday.
That's when he's cooking?
Yeah. No, well, I mean, it'll be there. Yeah. I mean, he's cooking like it's smoking like brisket. So he's going to start like around, I want to say like 10 a.m. on Saturday and bring 13th? It up around. Huh? The 13th? Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
He's making brisket tacos with mac and cheese and rosemary potatoes. It's going to be fantastic, bro. Like,
hell yeah. I'm there.
Yes.
I'll be there. Will you?
Please. And by the way, like we do $5 tickets, $10 tickets come with a joint because it's weed friendly. $15 tickets come with a joint and a beer. So come on out. That's pre-sale only. So go to the site, go to my Instagram page at Winston C. Dean. It's in my bio. Please get a ticket. Come on out. It's a fun show. You did it one time.
I did.
The venue's very unique. I think it's the best way I could put it is it's Austin weird, like old school Austin.
It
weird.
is. It really is. It got that hippie vibe. They got fucking hula hoops and shit.
Yeah.
Fire spinners.
It's like Cirque du Soleil vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It's a good vibe out there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me plug that. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. This was great. Let me do it again sometime, maybe when you get back in town when you're visiting.
Hell yeah. I would love that.
Awesome.
All right, bye.
Peace.